Okay. Hey, everybody. So we are live. We should be live on Facebook again too. I don't know. I don't know. We'll see if anybody comes through on there. But yeah, Andy. Hello, hello, America. Yeah,
We are all of America.
we're it. It's us five. That's it.
Every bit as diverse as you might think.
So yeah, yeah. Yeah. So as usual, welcome to the show, everybody. I am Game Master Roger. This is my neighborhood. Today we got a full crew today to talk about some games that we need or don't need. So I'm joined by Decado, as usual. Jason is there. Joe is below him, and everybody, you guys all know Mike, Thunderstruck Workshop. Um, yeah, before we get started, just want to see what everybody's bought or what games we played and all that stuff. I'm sure that everybody's bought some games that we don't need or possibly needed. Um, the only thing really that I got in this week was this. I ended up finally ordering this.
Nice.
Letters from the Borderlands one. I'm really a big fan of Keep on the Borderlands. So, like, it's my goal to collect like
Have you looked
you
at
know
it yet?
every printing or version of that. I have flipped through it and read. I haven't like read through it thoroughly, but
What do you
yeah,
think?
it looks.
You like it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
So far, so good. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to his Kickstarter when he expands on it because it doesn't have I glanced at mine quickly.
Yeah.
I don't even know where I put it here. But yeah, I went through it a little bit and it's I don't think he has the wilderness stuff that Keep on the Borderlands has. But I do know that that's supposed to be a big part of the Kickstarter. Was going to add all kinds of stuff, add the wilderness,
Yeah.
but add a whole campaign to it beyond just the Caves of Chaos and the
Yeah.
and the sea.
His hex map looks like this,
Yeah,
and there's a note on the bottom in fine print that says, "Fill out each hex during game prep or roll them on the fly as the party explores."
Yep.
So you're kind of meant to build your own
Yep.
kind of thing as you go, which I mean I would roll it ahead of time, but I mean it could be it would be cool to do it like at the table, but also I think like that's like a time waster, you know, to have to keep doing that.
Yeah, and you start doing random stuff, you're going to have a lush forest next to a desert, and I'm like, okay, none of this makes sense.
well, that's not necessarily how those rules work, though. A lot of them have
Yeah.
like plus and minus variables. So if you get one biome, it's hard for it to switch. You know, you've got modifiers that keep it more geared towards it, or like adjacent biomes that make
Okay,
sense.
cool. Yeah, if
You're
there's-
you're not going from like desert to Arctic
okay,
right next to each other.
In 1E you've got the tables, and there's definitely things like from a forest to a desert, like that won't happen because it's a zero chance or whatever. And then and then Shadow Dark, I think you can only advance like one or two hexes, right? Hex types. And so yeah, there's that too. Populated hex monthly, that's pretty
Yeah,
good.
this guy's stuff. First of all,
Yeah.
you're going to
And
pay a
he's-
fortune if
yeah.
you want to buy it all
Thanks
because
for
he's got like
coming.
54 issues of this or something. But it's great stuff, and each different issue has different things, and he's
Yeah.
got his own maps if you want to use his world. But I would use it more for just inspiration. Maybe take his hex and drop it on mine. You know, if it's something I
Yeah.
like. But he's got
Hex flower terrain generation is really fun. I did a
Yeah.
video on hex flowers actually in the long ago in the channel that I did before this that no one knows about. I did that was actually my best video, I think, best performing video that I did. But yeah, the hex flower stuff is awesome. I talked to the guy that kind of I forget his name. He kind of like designed it or whatever. He wrote a book on it. Anyway, I got to talk to him for a little bit. It's pretty cool. So, but yeah, those populated hexes monthly, I keep seeing those on Kickstarter, and I mean I back them every now and again. I've got
Yeah.
some of them, but yeah, they're fantastic. You can get, I don't know how many he's got now, but he's got to
A
have
lot. It's so.
I mean, you got to be able to do 200, 300 hexes with his stuff and just drop it in.
Oh yeah, I think he's got like 54 issues of that populated hexes monthly, and you can buy bundles now, like the first
Yeah.
year, 1 through 12, and it's not that expensive if you're buying the PDF. If you're going to buy prints, I mean, you run anywhere from $10 to $20 each, and if there's 54
Yeah.
of them, that's a lot of money to drop.
But something like that, though, I don't think you need in print. Like you just need it in PDF, and then you go through it, find the one that you're going to run or the one
Yeah.
that you're going to need, and then print that out.
Right,
You know, for the day.
right,
I mean, I don't think you would need to print, you know, to have a whole book of them. You know,
right.
my
And,
opinion.
and he's got other books that aren't like the populated hexes monthly
Yeah.
zine. It's like all about thieves guilds in a hex crawl, and there's ones all about like the specific lake, and he did a whole, you know, all the hexes around the lake and stuff, and that's still stuff that you could just take it and drop it right in your game. Like, hey, I like this, we're gonna create this lake, you know, and that's the stuff that's all around it. So I like that.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
do think that you mentioned 1E. I don't think 1E is a great resource when it comes to hex crawling. I think because they had gotten away from that style of play in AD&D. It's more of
I don't know. I think there's a lot of generation stuff in 1E.
well, sure, but there's no hex crawl generation stuff. There's just random tables for monsters.
What do you
and-
mean? No, there's tables to generate hex maps. That's what I use to generate my entire campaign map. So I can tell you for sure that there is.
Okay. Yeah, you know I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah, look it up. It's a D20 table, wilderness hex mapping or something in there. I don't remember it's got to be in the Dungeon Master's Guide.
Yeah, I got it right in front of me.
You look that up and then we'll and then obviously we played. I think we're on our fifth session.
I think it's fifth. Yeah.
Shadow Dark.
Yeah.
So that's been going well. We'll see. We'll talk about that in a couple weeks on stream and figure out what we've done. We're going to talk about it in a couple weeks, in game and talk about whether we want to stick with it, pros, cons, things we're going to change, all of that fun stuff. So more on that, I guess, in a couple weeks. But so far, I think it's been going pretty good. I don't have anything else to say about it. From there. But Ducato, how about you? You got anything new show up or any games?
I don't think I got anything new. I ran a couple games. I ran Shadow Dark on Thursday, so we kind of finished up that adventure for the most part. And then I ran my CNC campaign on Saturday. That was good. That was session 79.
Nice.
Yeah. So we messed around with some different things. Shadow Dark. I let them roll a D4 at the beginning of the session to see how many luck tokens they had.
Yeah.
And some people made out, some people didn't, and they ultimately used them all. So
wow.
They didn't last. Some people got like 4, and I watched the caster burn through 4 luck tokens trying to cast a spell. It was great.
That's crazy. Wow. That's nuts.
And the dice were not on their side. So, but they were, because they succeeded in the adventure. They actually all 3. I only had 3 players and for that, and they all survived, and they finished off the big bad. So they did a good
It only
job.
took them 20 luck tokens to do it.
20 luck tokens, but most of them actually, honestly, weren't even used then. They were used before they got there.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
We were trying to prep for the big battle and trying to buff each other up or heal and just nosediving on their rolls. So,
Yeah.
So we messed with that, and then we ran CNC on Saturday, and that went well. I'm actually running it again this Sunday. So
Nice.
yeah,
Good times.
that'll be good.
What? How about you, Jason? What do you got?
First, my order of modern necessities came
yeah.
in from
Nice.
our good friend, the Scrying Dutchman. I've only looked at it just a little bit. That's why I was looking at it live. So I really can't remark on it too much, except that I like what I see so far. It's 4 OSC and old school essentials. But I don't believe you have to have those books in order to use this. Kind of like Dark Light. It's for Shadow Dark, but you don't have to have Shadow Dark to play it. So far so good. The Scrying Dutchman's next Kickstarter goes live next Tuesday. Really looking forward to that as
that's
well.
the first, right? It's
Yeah.
March 1st.
Yep. Looking forward to that. We'll definitely back it as soon as it goes live. Had a great time with Shadow Dark this weekend. I think I had my first character moment that I was like, this guy's finally got personality now. The two clerics were in a room fighting a couple of skeletons, and Ken's wizard cast invisibility on my thief, and Ken's sitting to my right, so I go immediately after Ken goes, and Roger says, "What are you doing?" I said, "I pick his pocket," and then I just like started giggling, and I was like, "Oh, finally!" And so I looked at Ken and I was like, "Did you ever watch Friends?" Because I'm a big fan of Friends, and he was like, "Yeah, I vaguely remember it." And I was like, "Okay, this guy's Joey Tribbiani." That's finally, I was like, that's his personality. He's not monumentally stupid, but he's not smart at all. But he's really friendly, and he's like everybody's favorite kid brother. And so that finally, Dipshit has a personality that I can play a little bit. So I had a great time Sunday. It was, and we finally finished the Citadel. So now we're going to go out and do other things the week after next week. I won't be there next week. So
Yeah.
I tried to give
we'll see
Ken
how
his
it
money
goes.
back, and he wouldn't let me give it to him. So I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. So Joe did not have as good a time as I did, and I will
No, I
let him
didn't.
tell that tale. So go
No,
ahead.
Joe had a blast.
Before we started the game, I came up with a get blessed quick scheme, and so bless gives you a luck token, and I was like, oh, well, I'll just bless myself, get a luck token, and then if I try to bless every other person, I'll just use my luck token. And sometimes you cast bless 4 times in a row, and it always fails. You just can't roll above 5, so it happens. Apparently,
Yep.
But it
Just
wasn't
if
just
anyone else out there trying to bless their party, just be aware it happens.
But it wasn't just blessed. Joe has spell cards out, so all of his spells that he uses are laid out in front of him. And when he borks one, he flips it over, and he's sitting directly to my left, and I'm looking over, and I'm seeing the backs of more cards than I'm seeing the front. His cleric did not have a good spell casting night.
Yeah, it wasn't good.
Yeah. I thought you wanted to give it to the kobold and wasn't having it.
Are you guys allowing players to hold multiple luck tokens?
No, we just have one.
No, just the one.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about changing that. I don't know yet.
And man, we
Yeah,
were
I
burning
didn't.
through those luck tokens. Good. We would get one, and I would just immediately give it to the wizard or the cleric. Here, take it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did that. And the last session was the first, pretty much the first session where they had multiples.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Well, we'll have to try it, see where it goes. But yeah, no, we haven't done that yet. Did you get anything did you buy anything, Joe? Did you get anything show up? Anything good?
I don't know. I got this Runehammer Daggerheart mashup thing. I forget what it's called. I could go.
Yeah,
get it,
hard
but,
suit. The hard suit thing that he made.
Yeah, it's a hard suit.
Was that that?
Hard suit primal.
Yeah.
Thank you for
Yeah.
reminding me.
Yeah, hard suit's one of his one of his settings for index card.
I got
RPG,
that, and I got the like Daggerheart has cards, so this has cards, but Daggerheart kind of uses like a smaller font on the card to like write everything in there if it's a big thing, but
yeah,
he decided keep the same size font but like reduce the art. So there's
okay.
It reminded me of like one of those magic cards from Unglued where it has so much
Oh,
text.
all the text.
The person is kind of peeking over the
Yeah.
the border of the card. Yeah. So
I
like
think
that,
I like it that way better than
It's funnier that
the
way,
increasingly smaller font size, to get it to fit on the card, because that gets. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm at that age, right? Like where trying to read some of that fine print is like ridiculous.
I mean, just get a monocle, man. It's classy. Just get like one of those.
Well, yeah, I know. Or actually wear my reading glasses when I'm supposed to. Yeah.
There you go.
mean-
I think you look +5 intelligence when you wear your reading glasses, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you know, like I don't know if Jason, did you see him or did you put him on after you left that night?
He must have put them on after I left. I don't know, but I end up
Yeah.
doing this, looking over my glasses.
Yeah.
Especially when I first started wearing
Yeah.
readers, I'd be at work at my desk and someone would walk in and I'd be looking over them. And I was like, oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, I'm 40 and this 19-year-old's telling me what he wants. Ugh.
Yeah. I got to get used to doing that. I think wearing them further down my nose so I can see over them at everything else that's going on. I just haven't, I don't know. Got to get used to it. I got to get used to this getting old shit. That's,
Well, I've got the long pointy snout, so it makes it really good. My glasses fit very well right at the end of my nose there.
Yeah. So yeah. So Mike, over to you. What, did you get anything in, anything new, exciting, any gaming?
Let's see. I got Shadow Sun.
Oh yeah. Nice.
The funny
Have you
part
dug
is,
into it?
not much. No, not yet.
That's Dark Sun for Shadow Dark, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Chubby.
So the
yeah.
the funny part is, I posted about this on Twitter, and Chubby Funster replied back and said, "Oh yeah, the revised version's coming out soon." And I go, "Well, that would have been nice to know before I bought this one." And he says, he replied back and said, "Don't worry, I'm going to send out coupons to all the previous owners." So
Good deal.
looks like I'll be
Yeah.
buying it again.
Yeah.
And these came today. These I'm excited about these. These are great. Final Torch issue number 1
Oh.
and Final Torch
Okay.
issue number 2. These are for Shadow
Okay.
Dark. So I don't know if you can see it here, but in this is 3
Hang on,
adventures. So
I'll put you on the.
there's these 3 adventures in there, which you're not gonna be able to see very well, but
All right. Right.
so it comes. There's a hex map
Oh,
for
you
the
want it
jungle. So this whole thing is jungle themed. This one is. So
I'll
there's a
leave you
hex
up
map.
a little bit. Yep.
Map for it. There's all the hex keys. This is all made for Shadow Dark.
Yep. That's cool.
And let's see. Then you get into it, and you've got Sanctum of the Undertoad Queen, which I just saw a review of it. I guess it's actually a quite highly reviewed adventure. Level 3. And then, of course, you can move on to... let's see here. This thing...
And where did these come from? Who-
So he's got his own site that you can order the PDFs from, or you can get the print versions from Amazon. And in the print versions, there's a QR code that you can scan for bonus digital content, which includes the PDFs of this. But it's not just the PDFs. It is the PDFs plus player maps, GM maps
Oh, cool.
of both the hex maps, the dungeon stuff. There's MP3 files in there for music to go along with certain
nice.
dungeons and stuff. There's handouts. There's all kinds of stuff. Second adventure is a 4th level one that's like jungle pyramid stuff. And the third one, these are weird in order because the third one's a 2nd level adventure.
Yeah. So it's just like however they
Yeah, but
made it. Yeah. That's interesting.
it's all made to go in this jungle setting. And then part
Okay.
2,
Cool.
so this is 80 something pages, which is pretty big for a zine. He's calling it a zine.
Yeah.
The second one is the pirates. And
Yeah. That looks cool.
it even says on here a new pirate setting of Fey Ocean. But then it has ship rules in here. There's entire I don't know if it's in here or if it's just in the digital content, but there's like pictures of like 20 different types of boats with stats for them and everything, different adventures, a whole hex crawl thing for the Fey Ocean. So
Nice.
my thought was I'm going to take the jungles and the ocean,
Yeah.
combine it with Cursed Scrolls 4, which is Kelsey's jungle stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going to add Jungles of Chilt,
Yep.
Tomb of Annihilation, and
Okay.
and 2 more books here. I can figure out where the heck I put it.
So what? I don't see issue 3 out there. Is that is that
There-
out there yet, or
Issue 3 is not out yet. Issue 3
not out yet? Okay.
on the back here is going to be Shards of the Frozen North.
Oh, it says it's
So-
coming. Okay.
But I got to tell you, I'm super impressed with the quality of these books, what's in them, and all the extra digital content. I will buy every one that he has when they come out. And then
Yeah.
on top of it, I will be adding Islands of Peril 1 and 2, which are this is all from the Holmes campaign. I've actually run a couple adventures out of this before in 2nd edition.
Okay.
This stuff's from Pathfinder. It's great stuff. So I look at it and I say, well, I'm going to add all that jungle stuff, Jungles of Chult, all of this stuff, Kelsey stuff, and I'm just going to make an island similar to the Jungles of Chult, maybe even bigger, to run a full campaign on. I've got all the seafaring stuff so I can do the oceans around it.
Yeah.
And just basically put together my own campaign. I'm not going to use any of their hex maps, but I'll use their hexes for my stuff. But these came today from Amazon, and they were just outstanding.
Yeah. Cool.
Outstanding.
Cool. Yeah, they look like they're about $20 on Amazon,
Yeah, I think one's 20 and one's 23.
and then the
But-
PDF on drive-through is $9.99.
But
But you said you get the PDF for free, right?
right. If you inside of this thing, there's a QR code for digital content, and you
Yeah.
get the PDF as part of that digital content with everything
That's
else.
cool.
I will tell you one thing. Yeah, so they've even got like blank things in here that you could print out for like ship types if you want to make up your own ship.
Yeah, cool.
But this thing is this book here is 108 pages. I mean,
Nice.
80 something pages for the first one, 108 for the second one. They're pretty big for
Okay,
zines.
yeah.
You got a
Yeah,
lot of
that's
content
cool.
for $20.
Yeah,
So-
looking at it, just the stuff on drive-through, the art looks pretty good and stuff too. I mean, it doesn't
Yep.
look terrible. So,
Yep.
yeah, that's neat. Yeah, it'd be cool to take a look at and see how that goes. Yeah. Keep us posted on that. Obviously, did you find that I was right in the first edition?
No, I
AD&D?
can't. Nope. There's lots of tables for generating random stuff. Like if you're gonna do, like if you want to do a settlement in 1E, it was like roll it for the size of the settlement and this and that. But
Yeah, there's hex.
Um,
There's hex
there-
rolls, hex generation.
yeah, okay,
It's there.
okay.
I know it's there.
Is it maybe
I-
in the Wilderness Survival Guide?
No, it's in the it's in the DMG.
If
know.
there is, listen. As much as I love that first edition DM guide,
Yeah.
if there is in there, it's pretty weak compared to what's out there these days.
Oh yeah, no, I mean it's
there's lots of
the-
hex. I mean, hex crawling was a big thing for basic and BECME, and it
It's a
kind of
D20. It's a
it-
D20 chart,
Right.
where you roll and you're here. Yeah, there you
Right.
go. Chthonic
It-
musings, Appendix B,
Appendix B.
random wilderness terrain. Yep, and it's got and then it's got like you roll a percentile to see if it's a settlement, if it's like 17 or less or something.
Yeah, I
it's,
mean-
it's there's a settlement, and then you roll on the random settlement table, and then occupy. Who it's occupied by, and all of that stuff. It's good stuff. Love it. It's fantastic. I built my whole
Yeah.
campaign map on that. So,
Okay.
yeah. So it is there.
No, Appendix B, random wilderness terrain is there. Yes, it's like I said, it's pretty weak compared to what's out there. I mean, it's if I was going to generate a hex campaign,
Sure.
I'm not going to do it out of this book.
All right.
I love this book, but there are just better
Yeah, yeah.
sources for it. I mean,
Yeah, but I mean, I think
you're not going to.
I mean,
You're not going. You can eat yogurt with a fork, but it's not optimal. Get,
right,
get a spoon
right.
and do the job right.
well, no, I just what I'm saying is like it works well enough
yeah,
where you don't need another supplement or whatever
No,
to do
I
it.
get it.
I mean,
It's
there's rules in Shadow Dark for generating hex terrain too, and I mean, I wouldn't use that for everything.
I feel like D&D regressed over the years from basic to AD&D to second edition to third edition to fourth and then to fifth,
Really?
where they took away all the rules for
Sure.
travel. travel stuff went away. Dungeon
I think-
crawling rules went away.
Yeah.
It was like in every different edition took more and more of it away. You
I
know?
disagree. I think that first edition is where we peaked on rules.
I guess if you want to talk about complexity of rules, sure.
So,
But
all right. Well, you know what, Mike? Let's put a pin in this, and
Yes.
we'll talk about the D&D rules complexity and rules history or whatever. We'll do an episode on that.
well,
Um,
I can't be on that episode with you because
Because you'll be wrong the whole time.
no, not at all.
why, yeah.
Because
I'll
Mike and
try
I
not to
will
be-
dogpile you on that show all night long.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
you're like
I
one of
100%
those.
agree with Mike.
You're one of those guys with that stick shoved up his butt. That's
Yep.
like, oh, second edition's horrible and first edition is
Well,
great.
I mean,
First edition is fantastic. That's where I began.
sure.
And I'm not going to say there's aspects of second edition which are better and some that are worse, but
It is now, Ken.
yeah. Well, we are talking about the
Rule
do
sets.
we need these books
Yeah,
and
yeah.
rule sets?
Rules.
I would never dog on AD&D first or second
Sure.
edition. It is amazing, and that's where I've spent 30 plus years running games. So don't get me wrong, I love them both. I'm just saying there are better tools for certain things. You know,
Sure.
You're not going to take
Absolutely.
you're not going to take the first edition rule set and reskin it as a Star Wars game and say, "Here we go, we're playing Star Wars." There's better systems out there to do it.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's true of any system. I think. Though,
Right.
you know.
So I'm just saying,
Um,
use the
yeah.
know.
Sure. There we go.
Yeah.
Thanks, Dave.
Is that your alter ego?
Thanks,
Is that
Dave.
like
Yeah,
your
it's
your
me.
separate
It's really
account
me.
that you have just a
That's
comment
mine.
in here?
That's my name. Yeah, that's me. Thanks, Dave. So no. I get what you're saying. I do. And you know, I mean, I like 1E and like what it did and all that. I mean, you know, but oh boy, Mike, there's a question for you from Ken.
Okay, so I don't know Daggerheart at all, but from the little bit I watched on a couple of videos, yes, first edition is like first edition's here and Daggerheart. I can't go low enough. Like I'd have to. I know you like it, and I'm sure there's some good parts to it, but we can all be wrong. I mean, most of us here at some point played 5th edition, right?
Yeah.
We were all wrong.
Yeah.
We learned over time.
First edition of Daggerheart.
I want to know why Dave thinks second edition is an abomination. I would like to hear an explanation of that.
Address that.
Yeah.
because they only made it for. I'm guessing this is gonna be his response, but because they only made it because, well, I mean, obviously they had to clear up the rules and stuff, but there was a lot of pressure from the whole Mad Mothers Against Dungeons and Dragons and all of that stuff, and they needed, I mean, obviously they needed to print more books, they needed a new edition, all of that. That's the same thing we see now, and why they're talking about a 6th edition, 7th edition, whatever it is. But I mean, they pulled out all the demons and like they sanctified everything.
That's not why they made second edition, though.
No, but that's part of it. That's part of the reason.
No, that was just part of how it was created, not why it was created.
Okay. All right.
They
Well, I
created
mean, we
second
can
edition to
disagree,
start
but-
edging Gary Gygax out of the company, which needed to happen.
Sure.
Because he was
Well,
spending
yeah, right.
money
Because they
on coke
booted him out.
and broads before
Yeah,
anything else.
absolutely. Well, they already got him out of the company when they started talking about second edition. Sure.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But
So they were basically doing the same thing to him that he
start
did
with
to
the Ringbound
Arnex.
Monster book.
Or
I actually
Arneson
think the
with
Ringbound
first
Monster
edition.
book was pretty cool, but I think
I like
you
that.
you
Yeah,
got that on that on your shelf, don't you, Mike? Or no?
I do. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Ducato
do.
probably has his too.
And it's
I wish
beat
I
up.
still had mine. I thought it was a
And
great idea.
Listen, it's beat up like everybody's is. It's so that was a product that was way too far ahead of its time. If you put that out today, just like what Lord Games did, I've got it sitting here. You can print every single one of those sheets. So if one of those sheets, so back then you couldn't do that stuff. When those came out, they couldn't. So it was ahead of its time. If they put it out today and said, hey, here it is.
Awesome.
It comes with a sheet of them and a PDF. You can mark them up all you want. You print a new one if you need it. You do whatever, a sheet rips out, you print a new one. that it's not a bad thing. I'm still not a huge fan of spiral bound, or not. I don't want to say spiral bound because I'm thinking of like actual
binders
coil
or whatever,
binding.
yeah.
But just
Coils.
like a 3-ring binder for that, because it's 3 weak points for it to rip out. I understand
Sure.
that. That was the downfall of the whole design. But I was very happy when they switched to the hardcover book and then the supplements. I didn't have the supplements back in the day. I bought those all in the last couple of years. But
Yeah,
there-
I mean, there's, I remember back in the day when I was running, I used a 3-ring binder, right? Because I didn't have a binding machine or anything like you couldn't back then. It was just difficult to do it. So having a 3-ring binder and having like all your notes and being able to like move monsters around and just say, okay, all I need is these 10 pages of monsters or whatever for this thing is like, I mean, that's pretty cool. But yeah, nowadays you could do that a lot easier than you could back then.
right.
So
I've actually
Yeah,
put a lot of stuff that was in like hardbound books into a binder and folder situation, or sometimes just a folder. And for running games, it's great because it's like one pocket of my folder has the character sheets, the other pocket has like all the maps I need, and then any essential rules I need, I just have them, in like those little plastic sheet cover things, and they're
oh
in
yeah,
there.
the
So,
clear.
like, yeah, I mean, it's not great if you need an obscure rule or something, but I have everything I think I need to run a game in a folder, and I just bring it to the game, and it's great.
Yeah.
Instead of bringing like 10 books, to the.
Well, that's
And it
how I
lays
do
flat.
it.
And it lays
Yeah.
flat.
If I'm going to run, I'm running the dungeon there that we've been running, Citadel, I went and took every single monster that's in the Citadel and in the random encounter charts, and then I grabbed each one of their stat blocks and made a PDF of just those and printed that out. So it's a table copy. So I don't even have to open up the book to find it. I've just got a couple sheets there, double-sided, that has all the stuff on it. I showed Roger, and you know what Roger's answer was? Oh, that's neat. I probably wouldn't use it, but that's neat.
I said it was neat. That's true. I didn't
Roger
say it like
has the
that.
wizard thing going on. He has the full wizard thing going on. He needs his tome in front of him, and he needs to go through the tome to, that's.
No, I
It's
think
right
having
there.
everything
He
easily
loves it.
accessible is good. Mike, I didn't say, oh, that was neat.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
Not like that.
Well, that's how I read it. You typed it to me. That's how I read
Oh,
it.
because it was typing. Okay. Yeah. No, that's cool. It's cool. I'll give it to you. You've done some things that I got to look into, doing myself, like doing the thing with the map is pretty cool, printing out that huge map. But I am looking, you got me looking now, and I looked, and there's a Best Buy's got a 55-inch TV for $199 right now on sale. So I'm like,
so Best Buy has a 65-inch for $225.
yeah, is it okay?
That's what I think.
I saw a 55 on sale for $199, and like
it's a Samsung. It's a Samsung with like I forgot what the smart TV portion of it is, but none of that really matters as long as it's got, as long as you can, most it's going to be hardwired into a computer. But even if it's got Chromecast, so if you want to throw something up real quick from your phone or whatever, as long as it's got Chromecast and that's all that matters.
Yeah, I mean, and I've got a couple of the Amazon Fire Sticks floating around and all that. So I mean, even if it didn't have a thing, but yeah,
I've even got one of the original Google Chromecast devices that just plugs into the HDMI, and that's all it can do is Chromecast.
Yeah.
So
there you go. Yeah, that works. That's neat.
Yeah, that's cool, Mike.
But no, I consider doing that. I don't. You were talking about building it into the tabletop. I think that's an excellent idea. I'm thinking about like for now, just kind of building a framed box. That's maybe 3 or 4 inches deep, however deep it needs to, to hold the depth of the TV and stuff, and just putting that, on the table.
What I would do if you're going to
out
do that
TV.
is build yourself a box that the outsides of it, you don't have any overhangs or anything on the outsides of it. So if you wanted to later put it into a table, you could literally inset that box into the table and then just trim around it.
Yeah.
That'd be the way to go. Because then, then you
Sure.
never have to change anything. You could just, add it to your table.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. And then that might be what I do. I don't know.
And I might start with that path instead of building the whole table at once. I might just buy the TV and get started with it.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, that's so a little funny story here. Decado and I talk all the time, and he'll ask me questions about 3D printed stuff, and I'll tell him, I'll give him an answer, and he'll be like, "Oh, okay, that's cool." Roger, he'll ask me a question, I'll give him an answer, and he goes, "No, I don't think that's right." And I'm like, "Why'd you ask me?
Not all the time.
Why'd you ask the guy that's been doing this for 10 years? If you got a better way, go ahead. Let me know how it works."
I'm trying to have a discussion with you. I'm trying to have a, just a back and forth. Like, what do you think about this, or what do you think about that type of thing?
What settings did you use to print that? I'll tell him. He'll be like, "You can't do it like that. You got to do this." I'm like, "Okay."
I don't think I've ever said you can't do it like that. I think I've asked why would you do it like that and not like this, and then that's when you get upset and then tell me that.
What do you
"Why'd
think,
ask me?"
Jason?
Whatever.
Do
You
I
know
think
Roger?
that Roger would tell you you're wrong? Yes, absolutely.
I'll give you shit about it, but I never get bent out of shape about it, so don't worry about that.
No, I know.
I have fun. I
I'm-
just busted on you.
No, I know. No, I'm okay with that.
But I want to finish the discussion on the 3-ring binder for the Monster Manual or
Yeah,
the Monster
sure.
Compendium.
Sure.
I loved it. Now, there is no denying that it had multitude problems. The binding, the clips would bend all the time. You would rip the pages out accidentally. Absolutely true. But I thought it was great that, like, every supplement, like Underdark, when the Ruins of Undermountain came out, you open the box up and the last 4 pages are new monsters that you can throw into that binder, versus having another thing that I've got to pull out of this box and fold it in half and set it aside if I want to use this monster. So I really like that. However, I have to be completely honest that a lot of my love of that 3-ring binder and second edition, it came out, I think, in '88. I was 16 going on 17 at the time. So, although I learned to play Dungeons and Dragons with Basic Expert in first edition, second edition is when I became an adult as I was playing Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
And, I deployed to Desert Storm, and all of my entire platoon was playing Dungeons and Dragons at one point. All of the lower enlisted guys, we were all playing D&D. After Desert Storm was over, I volunteered to stay another 3 months. And I was repainting the vehicles green before we sent them back to Europe. And we worked 12 on and 24 off. That 12 on, we worked for about 5 hours. We slept in the paint tent for another 7. And then we would go and we would play D&D for 24 hours. And it was all second edition. So I have thousands of hours of awesome memories from second edition. So I will always defend second edition because I thought it was a really good system, and I still think it's a good system.
I have to address what Dave said there.
Go ahead.
The art,
What, that the art sucked?
the art
Or the
does
bind-
suck.
Oh, I didn't even
the
see
art,
that.
The art does suck if you're looking at the revised prints. If you go with the original prints, they were loaded with Elmore and Easley art. and
Yes.
it was all
I don't.
great stuff.
I don't know if we're talking about the same thing. Because I thought he was talking about the 3-ring binder monster art.
Well, hey, listen, not for nothing. Look, we'll go here. It's not the binder. It's one of the appendixes. Same stuff from the
Yeah.
binder.
Yeah.
Okay.
That
It's
looks
not-
good to me.
No,
It's
I'm just
not-
saying.
I think
Yeah,
personally,
the monster manuals are
Yeah.
fine, but the core books, the art wasn't. Well, like Mike said, the revised ones, the art's fucking
right.
horrible.
The revised one's horrible. The thing about this one is every single monster in every single book has artwork.
Yeah,
It's rare to find that these days.
Yeah.
I mean,
the binder. Yeah, he's talking about the binder.
here was my solution to the binder. So I've got the, obviously the hardcover Monstrous Compendium, but then I
Sure.
went out and bought. They did the compendium and annuals.
Yeah.
So this is all stuff that wasn't in the binder and wasn't in that. Then the Ravenloft stuff that was in binders got made into
Yeah.
these softcover books.
Yeah.
The Mystara stuff got made into one. And then you have a whole lot of stuff that never got made into them. This is just some of that. Well, I made new covers for them all. And
Yeah.
I made my own
On
bound
mine,
versions for everything. So you got your Greyhawk, you got your Spelljammer, because they never had print versions of these other than in the binders. Dragonlance, it was only a binder supplement. You know,
Yeah.
Forgot.
I
Even
want
this
I
one,
want the Forgotten Realms appendix.
So
I
this
want,
one
I
here-
want, I want those. Yeah.
this one wasn't even printed. This one's a web supplement that I printed and made it into its own booklet.
Cool.
And then there's the Forgotten Realms appendix. Yeah, to me, this is the hardest part for me not playing second edition is I have so much amazing materials for it that's and it's like Forgotten Realms. Even the people that don't like Forgotten Realms, there's so much material in those books that you can use for your games.
Yeah,
Even if
sure.
you don't want to
Oh
play,
yeah.
I play Forgotten Realms with second edition materials and a mix of the first and second edition box sets, but I run it like the first edition world where it's a lot more sparse, there's a lot less detail to it, and it's a lot grittier in my world. I've considered doing a Shadow Dark version of Forgotten Realms that's like, you give it some kind of cataclysm or something that happened. The world itself is in ruins
Sure.
and dangerous, and it's your game. Do what you want with it. So that's why I
Yeah.
always, when people are always like, "Oh, I hate that system. There's too many high levels in there." You're the DM. They're only in there if you put them there.
Mhm.
Yeah. Right. Right.
I don't know.
Can
Sometimes
I show
I'm
what
like-
I was talking about with those cards real quick. Just
Yeah.
Yeah.
I,
Sure.
I had to use the restroom and then I got up. So this is a normal card, right?
Here, hang on. Let me
Oh, okay.
put you on the big screen. Yeah. go
Oh
on.
no. Okay, so this
Right,
is
so
a
there's
normal
a normal
card.
card. Yeah, it looks like half
Okay.
and half.
All right. This is another card.
That
Right.
was a little more. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then this is the one I was like
Birds.
starting to laugh at, where it's like
Oh my God.
just
Yeah. It's just the header. Yeah.
but that's how you like it, Roger. So that's the right way, right? Like
Well, I mean, I like if the alternative is
That's the
smaller
Steven
and
Chenault
smaller
method.
font size,
Yeah.
like I mean, like yeah, then I'd rather have a standard font size, that doesn't get progressively, smaller.
yeah, that's the right way. Why we don't need to even discuss it. That's the right way.
Forgotten Realms gray box, best setting, second only to Dark Sun.
Totally agree. I love
But-
Greyhawk, big fan of Dragonlance, but man, that original gray box Forgotten Realms.
Yeah.
As soon as I opened it, I was like teleported into the Forgotten Realms and never wanted to leave.
See, I will agree with you both there, but there's one other setting that belongs right up there in the top three, and I can't rank them. It would be Ravenloft, Dark Sun, and Forgotten Realms.
Yeah, Ravenloft, or like Ravenloft second edition, where they brought in where it's the whole, like all the other planes and all of that stuff. Or are you talking about just like
No, this is-
Ravenloft, Strahd,
No, second edition,
Barovia?
the Demi-Planes of Dread.
Okay,
I
Demi-Planes
don't,
of Dread, okay.
I'm not a huge fan of exactly running the Demi-Planes of Dread. I like taking
Yeah.
parts of Ravenloft and putting them in my world somewhere. But yeah, it's a great, amazing resource that, every Demi-Plane was different. One of my favorite adventures ever was Night of the Walking Dead. First level adventure in Ravenloft, and it is so much fun. I've run it many times over.
You're calling it Ravenloft. I've never heard it pronounced that way. It's not Ravenloft. It's Ravenloft.
I don't know.
It's Ravenloft, but
Okay.
I
Ravenloft,
I didn't want to argue with them, so I just let them have it.
Didn't want to tell me it was wrong
Yes,
yet
you
again.
did.
No.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, Ken, that's probably a better way to do it on those cards, is to just try and reduce the rules and the rulings that are the way it's written. But I don't know. I think Shadow Dark's done a decent job at it, although I haven't really gone through all the spell cards that Joe has. So, but yeah, a lot of the Ravenloft art is really good. So, yeah, Shadow Dark cards. Yeah, that's you, Joe.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, they're
I don't wanna
they're
interrupt
pretty
you.
good. They're legible and all of that, but they don't have, half of them aren't art. Like, so they can put more stuff. in
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, true.
So today we're talking about do we need all these rule sets? I know we kind of touched on that a little bit with the 1E and basic and second edition, all that stuff. And I think there's two answers to this, right? I mean, I mean, like yes and no, right? But like my first gut reaction is no, we don't need all these different rule sets.
But
But also, yeah, it's crazy, right? But really, like without some of these other rule sets wouldn't have been made. I mean, like without third edition, right? And the whole thing with the OGL, and like without fourth edition, right? We don't have things like Pathfinder or Dungeon Crawl Classics or what, or maybe we do, right? But maybe they're different. I don't know. But it's like that transition, right, from third to fourth kind of, um, you know, pushed Paizo and Goodman to like make their own systems. So like, and I mean, I like those systems, and they're different. And I think my complaint falls on like the OSR stuff, where, you have like a handful of rule sets that are really, really, really close. And the only thing that's different is, there's like one rule or something somebody didn't like, so they changed it or whatever. But I don't know. So I mean, I think like that's the progression of people is they play a system, they like it, but then they start changing it, and then they change it to the point where, hey, let's publish a whole system, with all of our house rules, whether that's a small thing, and you end up with just a small book, or or it's something like this, where you end up with Joe Block's, AD&D house rules that's it's, two massive tomes, which is
They're only
great.
like
I'm not
500
knocking the Joe
pages
stuff.
each. That's only
Yeah.
1,000 pages. That's fine, because
That's
then
it.
you
Yeah,
never need another book. Never
they're
need another
small,
book.
right?
Everything's there.
Well, and that's the thing too, right? I mean, they're like all inclusive. I mean, he's got, I don't know how many classes and rules for everything in there. But I mean, that's kind of my thought on it. But like I know Paul. I don't know if Paul's out there in the chat, but I know he. Whenever I see him on a stream, his tagline is we don't need more BX clones.
yeah,
which is true, because
It is true.
there's a ton of them. Yeah, so we really, like, do we need any more BX clones? Like, no, I think we got enough. I think OSE is like a really good example of a BX clone if you want something that's as close as possible to the original.
Yeah, but
And then there's
so
different
so
things.
so the problem with that though is that's how it started. And
Sure.
then they added
Well,
the
yeah.
advanced. They added the advanced
It's
stuff.
true.
And I don't know. I
Yep.
don't know if you've seen. They're discontinuing
Yep.
both of those lines and merging it all into one.
Yep.
So obviously, the advanced line has been much more popular. So people really,
Sure.
I'm sure there's lots of people that just wanted that BX clone reformatted, easier to play out of the book, and it did that. But as it got more popular, people wanted more, and I think they did a great job with the advanced, because it added first edition classes, but toned them down to match the BX
It
stuff.
kept it, with the BX rules, which I think is fantastic.
Yeah, it kept the
Absolutely, I agree.
power levels would be it.
I would like to see like Dolmenwood. Dolmenwood's cool and all. I'm not a huge fan of the setting. I don't know if I'll ever run it myself. I would love to see Gavin Norman get back to working on OSE stuff. And, I know there's more stuff coming
Sure.
out. If you look on his
Yeah.
coming soon, there's new adventures coming. There's a new screen coming out. Obviously, there's going to be those new books coming. I don't know. I'm torn now because I really like Shadow Dark.
Yeah.
And I like OSE. But at the same time, there's some days where I want some of that additional rules complexity. And that's when I go back to AD&D. Primarily for me, second edition. And
Sure.
it's like Jason. So it actually came out in 89. And I started probably about 86. And we played a little bit of basic, and then some friends got me into first edition, and that's what we ran for a while. And then it was only a few years later that second edition came out, and we didn't have any game stores. We had Walden Books, and that's all they sold. So that's when I started collecting second edition stuff. And that's, I think for the most part, most people that switched from first to second is probably a similar reason. It was the current content being published.
Sure.
It was easily available. And I don't care what, I know I hear the beefs back and forth. People mad about them taking out the demons and devils. Okay, yeah, they put the Batsu and Tanari or whatever, and they're named differently, but there's the same type of thing. Or you pick up your 1E player's handbook or monster manual and use the demons and devils right out of there if you want.
That was why I didn't buy it when it first came out. I mean, I never bought the core books, but I used to buy other stuff for it. But when it first came out, there was no assassin and there was no demons and devils, and I was like, what do I need this for? Like, I have it in AD&D. So some of my guys I played with bought it. That's how I have the DMG. It's because I inherited it, but I never bought it myself.
Now, I will say, as I've gotten older, I prefer a rule set that is much more tight and concise with what it has in it, and then have supplements to be able to add what I want to my campaign. So I actually don't mind that assassins aren't in there or monks aren't in there. Monks, the way they've always been designed, are horrible. They don't fit in a medieval fantasy setting.
Right.
They don't. They're
They belong in Oriental Adventures, not in Western.
Right.
Well, that's
European.
So Dave brings up, Dragon Slayer being, nice between 1E and BX, which is true, but he changed the monk in there to be more like an actual
Eastern.
monk would be.
Western,
Right.
like a friar.
Right, like a friar instead of the, Kung Fu master.
Right. And I think, and I think that's more of how they should be in a medieval fantasy type setting.
Sure. I agree.
That's one of the things I like about Joe Block's AD&D is that he didn't put the monk in there. It's in his version of Oriental Adventures.
Yeah.
That's the way it should be. Like
Books,
I've always hated the monk, so I don't mind the Dragon Slayer one. That one's fine. But like when we played AD&D or any version of the game, third edition, fifth, I've never liked the monk as a game master. I'm just like, it doesn't.
Right. It doesn't fit. Right.
It doesn't fit my setting.
It just doesn't
that I'm
fit.
using. Never cared for them.
Which I think like that is what kind of leads to all of these clones, right, to come out, is people start playing a game and they start talking like that, like, oh, well, we can't use this, we don't want to use this, we don't want to, and by the time you get done with your house rules and stuff, or you start publishing stuff and that's your own setting or whatever, like the Dolmenwood thing, I think that's kind of how that happened, like, because that was originally just a BX or a OSE thing, and then eventually it's like, you know what, we've got a big enough following, we got a thing, let's just make our own game, and then we can make our own stuff for it, and then that's kind of how that happened.
Part of that with Dolmenwood was the OGL nonsense, because originally Dolmenwood was going to be OSE, and then that stuff happened, and he was like, well, I got to do my own thing because I don't want to lose what I'm working on. But no, it makes sense.
I really wish he hadn't changed it and had just left it for OSE. Not that it's much different.
It's not very different. I mean, there's a couple different rules, but
I
mean,
that's what's good about a lot of the OSR stuff is they're really cross compatible. I mean, with minor changes.
I just got really turned off by the ancestries. I mean, I don't know. Just not.
They wouldn't work in every campaign, but if you're playing in Dolmenwood, they're great.
Yeah.
There's some other ones, probably not so much.
Monks belong to any setting. Well, Rooster, it's your time.
You're wrong, Matt.
That's
my buddy Matt. You're wrong.
Oh, well, if it's your buddy, then you're wrong.
No,
you're wrong.
He's my buddy. You can all tell him he's wrong.
Yeah, you're wrong. I mean, listen, I even hated the Castles and Crusades monk. The way it's written, there's some vagueness to how it works. And I couldn't get an answer from Steve. And then when he did give me an answer, it was the wrong answer. But, it was like certain little things about the monk, about their armor class and being unarmed attacks. But then they turned around and said, like, Steve flat out said, oh, yeah, you can use a weapon. I'm like, well, that's not an unarmed attack. If you're going to give them those bonuses for doing that, and I don't understand this. People I get it with my players all the time. They're like, we want to add good things to the game, but there should never be any penalty for it. Well, everything should have some kind of reaction. That if you're going to add
Right,
something good, there
You
should
add
be
something,
some
you
kind
gotta
of
take something
downside.
away or the negative. Yeah,
Right.
right.
Right,
Sure.
and it
Right,
was just
right.
like
You
give,
can have
give,
this thing, but you're going to lose this or whatever. Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
So
Yeah.
so I had a player
Yeah.
that took a weapon that was on the list that did like D12 damage, and
Yeah.
then he could get his unarmed attacks with it because Steve and Chuck and them were all saying, "Oh yeah, you can use weapons." I'm like, "Dude, it says unarmed," and they're like, "Oh well, that's not really what it means." I'm like, "Well, what does it mean then?"
Yeah.
The deflecting arrows says you have to have like a free hand to do it, but what if you're using a two-handed staff? And it's just
Right. You
I
can't.
don't know.
Yeah. Right.
Right.
And you can't do it. Right. Right.
Right.
No, I agree. I definitely agree with you, especially if, when you're trying to like min max or something like that. And I'm not necessarily
and that's
saying that your
and
player was
that's
doing that, but I think that's part of it.
well,
you
no,
know?
it is what he was doing, and I don't have a group that really goes out of their way to min max. But if they'll interpret rules much different than I do, and I think that's because I've DM'd for 30 plus years and they haven't. So they look at
Sure.
it from a player perspective, and they're like, "Oh, well, why can't we have that?" They don't see what
Yeah.
chaos it might cause in the game by allowing you to cast that same spell 10 times in a row.
There's a lot of that. I mean,
Why can't
I have players like that,
Why can't we just make Magic Missile into a cantrip?
Because then we'd be
why?
playing 5th edition.
Right, because why
Yeah.
would you do
Yeah.
anything else? You'd be just firing
Right.
missiles left and right.
Yeah,
And that's before you started joining us, that was actually a discussion that Ducato and I had. We had that exact discussion. All my guy had to do was cast Flame Bolt. It's a
Yep.
0 level cantrip. I can cast it every
Yep.
round. Why would
Yep.
I use
Yeah.
anything else? Especially
it-
when the damage elevates on it. But that's
Right.
a different discussion.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. So I mean, I think this is where all these different things come from, all these new rule sets and books and everything else, right? Because people don't like the way things done or the way something was written, or they feel like
Well-
they have to explain things, and then they have their own printing of it now.
It's weird because I don't ever want to say that. Yes, warlocks were the same way.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Ra-
that too. Yeah,
I mean,
there.
Rangers were the same. The warlocks cast Hex and then Eldritch Blast.
Eldritch
And
Blast, Eldritch
the
Blast,
the Ranger
Eldritch Blast,
cast. Yeah, the Ranger cast. I forgot some. Hunter's Mark. And then their attacks, and it was just stacking abilities to because they couldn't. They were piss poor designs, so they were like, "Oh, we'll just give a bunch of stuff to make them happy," and it still didn't work. Everybody hated the Ranger; it was pretty lackluster compared to others. I mean, Thief, they couldn't figure out what to do, so they're like, "Oh yeah, just go hide next to your buddy's leg, and you can get sneak attacks, every round." What? The old, backstab used to be you got to hide in shadows and get behind him.
You had to work for it.
Right, you worked
Yeah.
for it, and it was once per round, and then you did big damage, but it doesn't matter when everybody's got 40 hit points at second level. Your backstab isn't going to do much, so they got to let you do it every round.
Yeah, right.
Excuse me 1 second, guys.
Right. Yeah. So, what's your guys' thoughts on that kind of thing? What on
We touched on it a little bit
printing stuff, yeah.
earlier, and part of me is like no, but then it's like, well, now there's a game for everybody. If you can't find a game to play, that's probably a you issue, not a game issue.
That's
And,
absolutely true.
So, and there's some, like I was saying earlier, like I played in a game at ShireCon, and that game I was interested because I wanted to check it out, and I checked it out, and I'm like, this game is not for me. But there was another guy at the table that was having a great time, and I'm like, awesome. That's
Which
the
game are you
for
talking
anybody.
about?
What's it called? Against the Dark Master.
Yeah.
I've seen
What
it.
how about you, Jason? Where were you at when it comes to this stuff?
To be honest with you, I don't know what the question is because we've gone around so many circles. I have forgotten. So could you please?
No, what do you think
give me
about
the topic?
having all these rule sets? Do we really need all these?
Do we
all
need
these
them?
clones and all that
No,
stuff?
we absolutely don't need them. I'm looking at a shelf to my left, a shelf behind me, and a shelf back here that is filled with hundreds of books. Many of which are very similar. I've got Dragon Slayer and AD&D and the original AD&D all in the same shelf area, all very similar. A little bit of changes here and there. but just because we don't need them doesn't mean that they shouldn't be made. I
Sure.
can point to any of these systems that I have and be like, oh, I really like this about this system. We played Heroes Unlimited a few months ago. Ken was running, and it didn't go that well. And we were all kind of frowning at the end of it. But I can still flip through that book and be like, I love this. I love this. This is a great rule. This is a great rule. So I'm okay with any of the stuff being published. And I'm going to land on the same thing Decado said. At this point, if you can say, there's no game out there for me, then you are not meant to be playing games. You should be digging a ditch somewhere, keep yourself occupied, because there's just way too much content out there for anybody to be like, well, I can't find something I like.
Yeah, it's definitely all out there, and anything you can possibly imagine is out there.
Yeah.
It's crazy the amount of, especially nowadays with with drive through and publishing stuff now, other than even 20 years ago, 30 years ago, right? Even 20 years ago, you could you could print stuff, but like today, it's like you don't even, I mean, you think about 30 years ago, right? In order to publish a book, you had to either start your own publishing company or to print it and everything yourself and all that, or like somebody else had to approve it to actually print it. And now it's just like, oh yeah, you want a book, you could type up anything you want and you can send it to drive through Lulu, Amazon, or what, and they'll print it and sell it for you.
And Decado was talking about his experience playing against the Dark Master. He did not enjoy it, but another guy at the table was loving it. That was me with Morkborg. I played Morkborg once, and half an hour into the system, I was like, this is not a game for me. But going down to Joe absolutely loves Morkborg. There you go. Just because it's not for you doesn't mean it there's not some value in the system.
Well, some of my players at my table absolutely love 5e.
I cannot fathom that, but
I listen, I've run multiple campaigns with them. We even ran one last year, a year and a half ago, as a last minute attempt to see if we could make it into something better. And I ran Curse of Strahd. I love Ravenloft. I have run I6 multiple times. I've run House of Strahd before multiple times. I love the setting. I absolutely hate Curse of Strahd. I mean, they added a lot of stuff, and I think a lot of it was done as filler. But I also think it's when you guys started this conversation and you said you didn't like rolling like a hex crawl, you don't want to roll it on the fly. Well, there's something to be said about that type of emergent play where nobody knows what's going to happen, the DM or the players. And when you roll some new point of interest and it says that there might be some ruins here, and you roll it up and it might say that there's orcs there, or it gives you a little backstory of what there's some missing artifact there. It's on you as the DM to make that interesting, but it's also on the players to get that little hook and be like, we want to go explore that.
My only thing against rolling the on the fly was what I was, I just don't want the terrain to be weird. It needs to make sense to me. But other than that, which one is it? Forbidden Lands. I don't see it up there. I have no idea where my book is. But the whole point of Forbidden Lands is here's a blank map, and you're going to go out and explore, and whatever you find out there, you're going to be rolling it, and that's what you're finding. Right. I love that kind of thing. I just want the terrain to make sense to me. That's all I care about.
So I'm planning to run a hex crawl this next campaign, and I think my plan is to make up the map and make up the biomes already. So I won't be rolling the terrain. I'll be rolling points of interest and stuff along the way. So, but the biomes will already be set, so it makes sense. I set up my world how I want it, and then as they explore, I may roll for that, and I may even pre-roll a crap ton of points of interest and write up stuff for each one. So then, when I roll them on the fly, I pull out the sheet for it, and there it is. There's our adventure for the next 3 sessions because, and I didn't know it's coming. They don't know it's coming. It's something that they stumbled upon and decided to pursue.
Joe, where are you at with all this? You think we need all this stuff, or I noticed the
Um,
plethora of books behind you, like the rest of us have. So
Well, you know me, I got to be a little different. Uh, I don't think as we had this discussion, I think on the way back from Page, I don't think we need any rule books because we're using our imagination. I think we can make stuff up on the fly, and the group you're playing with decides the rules as you go. Like you might say a dagger does D20, and I go, oh, I don't know, maybe a dagger should be a little smaller, like a D10. And then Jason goes, but a pole arm's a D10. And I go, oh, well, maybe we need to do a D6. You know, we could figure out, people can figure out a system without Dungeons and Dragons, without Morkborg, without anything. You could just use, because we're using our imagination, right? And then we're putting rules to it to make it a game, right? That's what makes the game, the rules. But I don't think we need any of it. I think as humans, we want it. We want the different systems. We want the different rules. We want the different flavors. Like we also talked, not just back from Page, but several times about how there's 3 Viking Morkborg systems out, and I want them all because they're all a little bit different. They all have a little bit of a different focus. They all have a little bit of a different angle to them. And even if the thing I like about other systems is, okay, maybe the system sucks, but like maybe that's where you go, okay, the reason I like this system and not this system is because of whatever, you know. And that if you didn't have that second system to tell you why you like the system you like, you know, like some systems are just there to be bad, dude, and that's fine. I don't have a problem with bad systems because it's like it makes you appreciate the good systems more, you know. And like, am I kind of upset I bought a shitty system? Yeah, but at the same time, you know, that value gets added to the systems I do like, you know, and why I like them and how I like them. And
you're a much more positive person than I am.
Yeah, right. So
when
I
get a
Matt,
shitty system, I want to burn it to the ground.
Matt has run a lot of Morkborg Force one shots and things like that at conventions, and he's an awesome GM. I've enjoyed every game that Matt's run.
Yeah,
Morkborg, Mothership,
even the weird stuff.
Dragonbane,
Yeah.
Everything. Right. It's been fantastic. So I really like it. But yeah, I agree with what Matt's saying here. It's not a campaign game. PCs are inherently weirdos. And so, you know, so he's saying, you know, Jason wants to like his character, which
Absolutely true.
you know, that's you know, that's a flaw that we forgive.
That's why that's one of the reasons. Sorry, Edgelord, it's never going to happen. I don't play evil. I've played evil a couple of times. I'm really good at playing evil. I don't like it, and I don't like the character that I'm playing, so it makes me not want to play it. He's exactly correct with that.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, Morkborg, I think for one shots and stuff has been fun. I know Joe has had some success running kind of a campaign out of it. I don't know how far you've gotten with that.
I don't want to do campaigns. That's the thing. Like sometimes we're having fun, and it's like, okay, so you did the thing, and now I'll throw something else out there, and we'll go towards that goal. And then, you know, when people stop,
that's why a hex crawl is good.
Yeah,
because you don't have to design the campaign. You just put a world in front of them. Maybe you pre-roll the points of interest. Maybe you don't. Maybe you do it all on the fly. And let the players create the story as you go. You know, when they move into a hex and they see in the next hex over there's ruins there, they decide whether they want to go explore them or not. And if they do, then either you randomly roll it all up as you go. And I know it was said earlier that that can take time, but there's some fantastic rules for rolling this stuff super fast on the fly, as long as you're willing to improvise as a DM. If you want it all laid out on the paper, then probably randomly rolling isn't the best way. But if you want to randomly roll it where it tells you, hey, there's ruins here, and these are some characteristics of the ruins, and these are the monsters in the ruins, and this is why it's here, and then you go from that, they're perfect for that.
No, there's definitely something to be said about that. And I just, like, I've always pre-rolled, you know, and I'll roll some things randomly at the table. But I don't know. I like, especially after playing Shadow Dark now for a handful of sessions, and Blacklight, like it's just the game just goes so like smooth and quick.
Yeah.
And so maybe using their generation stuff would work. But I don't know. I mean, I think it'd be great, right? As a GM sitting at a table, because then, I mean, I could almost have a character in the game, right? Because you don't know what's going to happen or what's going to come up. Not that I would do that as a GM, but, and maybe it's worth a try, to try that someday. So I'm curious how that works out for you, Mike, right. Doing random generation when you get there.
So how many sessions in are you guys now? 4?
I think we
5,
just
I
did
think.
5, but it's
5?
4 or 5. It's
Yeah.
So I know you guys
Shadow
are
Dark,
approaching. You were going to have this sit down conversation and talk about it.
Yeah.
I know you haven't done that yet, but without getting into a full blown conversation about it, what are your thoughts so far? Because I can tell you just from the few sessions I've had, but all the reading I've been doing, I'm really liking it more and more the more I read on it.
I like it. I think there's only going to be some minor adjustments that we're going to throw out there.
There's simple things like initially I looked at the thief and I didn't like it. I'm like, there's no rules for how he does stuff, but there actually is.
Yeah.
There actually is rules for it.
yes, there are.
It just like Ducato and I had the conversation about it. I don't allow non-skilled players to try and do skilled class-based things.
Mhm.
So
Right.
if a thief can pick locks with his tools, the wizard can't.
Right.
Ducato said, well, I'd give him a real high DC and a chance to do it. I don't even do that. I just say
I don't know.
if you're not skilled, you can't do it. But either way works. I mean, you give him an 18 DC on it. Yeah, it's pretty hard to do. But
Matt, we got to get you on and talk about this when we do the alignment show, because that's going to be because stuff like that I think is going to come up in there. So that'll be interesting. Sorry, Mike, I just wanted to hit that.
no, that's all right.
But I think that Shadow Dark is going really well. I think the only thing that I'm gonna have trouble with is I got to figure out the math for the higher level stuff, because I'm using like at higher levels I'm making it so, well, even at lower levels whenever, but characters can take gold and build a keep and all that stuff. And so I was using some of the old Judges Guild things for that, and it's just the gold pricing for
1/10.
that. I'm gonna have to. Yeah, right. And I think
1/10
think
is
that's gonna
generally
work,
what they've been talking about a little bit on Discord, and I think 1/10
Yeah.
is about what they're saying is about appropriate.
so. I'm gonna go through it and see where that goes. But the way with the carousing and stuff, it's gonna be a point where like none of the characters are gonna want to build, a house or build a castle or a keep or fix up a keep when they could spend 1,600 gold to go carouse, you know what I mean, to go get drunk for 2 weeks. Why would they,
Well,
get more XP?
Yeah, but wait,
Why
wait,
would
wait.
they build
Not to
a
get
castle?
too political, but this is what we're facing in the American economy right now. Do people just want to go get drunk for the night, or do they want to own a home? It's a toss-up. I want to get drunk. Even I already own a home, so
You
I
own a
wanna
house,
just get
Joe.
drunk.
You can get drunk
Yeah.
whenever you want.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying. These young people. Do you want to get drunk tonight, or do you want to own a home?
I don't necessarily.
To Roger's point, though, this Sunday, my thief, we had found a set of magic leather armor and uncommon magic items, which magic armor is. You roll a d6 times 100, and that's how much its value is. And then the vendor was buying it at half the value. So I sold my leather armor, my magic leather armor, and bought a suit of mithril chainmail. And that was 240 gold. 240 gold is a whole lot of carousing.
Mhm.
And it was really a tough call for me, but I was like, to hell with it. I'm going to get this armor because, and one of the things I like about Shadow Dark is there's not a book this thick of magic items or things to go spend your money on. So it was like, I've got this mithril chainmail, and unless by some miracle we find a magic suit of mithril chainmail, this is the best armor I'm ever going to have. And so that purchase, I don't ever have to worry about it again. So now the next time we come across, a 50 gold piece gem, I'm not going to be worried about, oh man, I can save up and get better armor. Where something like Castles and Crusades, the top tier armor is 1,000 gold. And then if you want to have it made expert level for, better encumbrance value or better defense, it's times 10, 10,000 gold for a suit of armor. And so that's one of the things I really like about Shadow Dark is that the economy is much more lean. I like that about it.
So Roger, one thing you gotta realize. So first of all, when you look at downtime activities, carousing is one of 2 listed in the main book. The other one is learning.
Learning, yes.
Right?
And I almost did that last week.
But then if you go into Western Reaches, there's more forms of downtime coming.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
If your players are only worried about carousing, spending their money in carousing, they are seriously going to hamper themselves ultimately. So
Sure.
You talk about building a keep. It's short-sighted to think that 1,200 gold on 2 weeks worth of drinking if you're using the advanced, I am not using the carousing rules out of the book again. I will use the advanced ones that came out of the Western Reaches and the Cursed Scroll stuff because they have a huge D100 tables and a lot of variety to it.
Oh, absolutely.
And
me too. Yeah.
You roll the table, and some of them will be a benefit. Some of them will be a benefit and a negative. Some of them will be just a negative. They all grant experience. But when they throw 1,200 gold at something, sure, they can go carousing and maybe make 6 experience. Well, if they're level 50, to go to level 6, they need 50 XP. If they're carousing once per adventure and they're making 5 or 6 XP, instead of spending that money to maybe build themselves a keep or whatever, I mean, that's short-sighted, I think. If they're just going to chase those extra XP points and that's it, they're going to miss out on all the other downtime activities they could do, or building that keep and give themselves a base of operations.
I was thinking that, Dave.
Okay, barring attack by rust monsters, which I would just run away from. Let the wizard handle that. I'm not messing with that. We actually already had that come up in Castles and Crusades, and there's a huge city full of rust monsters, and we were all like, nah, I'm cool. Walked around it. Yeah.
Our last 2E game, one of the main fighters lost his chainmail and his sword to a rust monster.
Yeah.
And they went into a dark area and I'm going in the room to check it out. And they went in and the thing was cornered. And generally, if you read about rust monsters, generally they won't fight unless you corner them. They will go after armor and they'll sense it and they'll go after it and they get like this blind fury for it, but they don't attack you. But he went in and started, scoping the area out. And I gave him plenty of notice. And they even made the squealing noise when he could hear it sniffing around and made a squealing noise. And he's like, I'm going to go in and check it out. Okay. And of course, he didn't get out of there in time before he ended up losing his armor and his sword.
Oof. Rough.
There's another monster. I forgot what it's called in AD&D. It's just like a rust monster, but instead eats magic items, smells them out.
Disenchanter.
Yeah.
Disenchanter. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
It's in the Fiend Folio, I think.
Yeah. Nasty.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I think I think it's going to work out, and we'll see, right? We'll see what happens in a couple weeks when we have a conversation, and we'll definitely
also, to Mike's point, and I actually agree. If you focus only on what's directly in front of you, God, I feel like Bruce Lee. If you focus on the finger, you will miss all the heavenly glory of the moon. And we're focusing on the finger right now because we have only done the Lost Citadel or whatever it's called. We've just done that one crawl. That's all we've been doing. We just finished that this week. So now we're about to experience the glory of the moon before us. And, we spend a few minutes talking about it after every game. And I am concerned that it will not lend itself to a larger world campaign. I'm hoping that is not true because I am thoroughly enjoying playing my thief. It's the first time I played a thief in years that I thought was really just a lot of fun. So we'll see how it goes.
I think it will lend itself well to an overall campaign, and I'm gearing my campaign towards it. I might be in the minority here because when you go and look at published Shadow Dark adventures, everybody loves these giant, deadly dungeons. And to me, I prefer a big open world, lots of overland exploration.
Sure.
And I prefer, for the most part, most of my dungeons to be like 10 rooms or less. Maybe they found a barrow they're going to go investigate. It's got 5 rooms in it, or they find some old ruins that have 10 rooms in it, and it's a small little, one shot or maybe 2 shot adventure, and you're done and you move on. I don't like these crawling dungeons forever. I mean,
No, I totally agree with you. I am not a dungeon delving kind of guy. The overland, that's my jam. I play rangers. I always want to play a ranger, and that overland scene, that is what I want to experience. So, in Curse Scrolls 4 is the ranger, and when we first started talking about this, we're going to basic book. That's what we're playing. We're not doing anything else with it. But we also talked about once we start playing for real, if we decide to stick with it, then we might be adding the other stuff. And if we are, playing a ranger.
That's another book for Pace Setter Games. Their Endless Encounters Wilderness setting.
Yeah.
And the whole book is just filled with tables of locations and treasures, creatures, more locations. It's all forest stuff. So you literally, if they're going through the forest and you want something on the fly, pop it up and roll it.
Is that system agnostic, or is it for something specifically?
This one is called Classic Compatible.
Okay.
Yeah.
It doesn't have any mechanics in it.
Okay.
So when you roll on the stuff, it might tell you that like
there's a hut with a hag in it.
Well, like right here, location. This is chart 4D. So I'm guessing you go through it. So 4A is a water feature. 4B is a special feature. 4C is a magical spring, a grove fruit tropical, grove fruit temperate, boreal, contemporary structures. It's just, it's all system agnostic. So you just roll the stuff up, and it's there are some things on here for like the treasures where it'll say like Rod of Cancellation, Rod of Light, stuff like that. You're not going to find probably in Shadow Dark, but you can make it up.
Yeah.
Find something. There's lots of stuff similar. There's no gauntlets of ogre power, but there's gauntlets of might. I was just looking through the magic items the other day. It's all there. So, on the topic of do we need all these do we need all these systems, or do we need all these books?
No, systems.
Okay. Well, then I guess here's my thought on that. The OSR came about because of the scarcity. The OSR came out back in 2000 or so.
Okay.
It came out because D&D books
couldn't get the older books.
Yeah, you couldn't get the older books. They weren't available. They weren't available in PDF. Wizards of the Coast was going after everybody and threatening lawsuits if you shared PDFs and all that stuff. So you couldn't get all this stuff. So the OSR came about for people to make systems. That's how Castles and Crusades came about. That's why Osric came about. Lots of systems came out.
Osric, Basic Fantasy, Swords
Labyrinth
and Wizardry.
Lord. Yeah.
Labyrinth Lord and all that. Yeah.
I hate to say there's not a need for them anymore. They're all good in their own little way, but is there a need for them? They all fill that same exact niche, right?
Yeah.
And it's the same niche that you can go out and buy 1 ebooks on print on demand today, or 2 ebooks on print on demand, or basic, or you can go out and buy, you can buy a landscape version of Osric 3.0 and figure out where you're going to put it.
Yeah, you could buy one at the CNY auction.
Yeah. But my thought is, though, if you're asking, do you need all these systems? For me, I told myself I didn't need another fantasy system to replace D&D. And Shadow Dark was like, I put it off and put it off and put it off.
Yeah.
And then I go to Page and I see all the Shadow Dark games played, and I'm always talking to Troy and looking at his stuff, and I decided, well, I'll try it. And I'm glad I did, because I really like it, because I do feel that Shadow Dark brings a little something new and different to the table that a lot of the others don't. A lot of the others are just trying to make their version of the same thing.
Sure.
Where Shadow Dark is a little different. Yes, it's there's nothing new there. And Kelsey even say that. There's nothing new.
Right.
It's just a different way of doing it. For me, if I'm going to say do other systems, I'm going to look for things like, okay, Deadlands. It's a whole different type of game.
Sure.
There's a great setting for it here.
Right.
You know-
Not a D20 system.
Right. Delta
sure.
Green. It's
Sure.
a modern version of Call of Cthulhu with better sanity rules and
Yeah.
set in the, well, there's actually different settings. You can get one set in Vietnam. The basic one is set in the 80s or
Yeah.
90s. You can upgrade it to modern day. Those types of things. I know, like we know Jason's thought on Fantasy Flight game Star Wars, but any Star Wars game, no matter what system, it's not D&D. It's something different.
Mhm.
I look at Free League. I love their stuff because everything that they put out is different.
Yeah.
So even the One Ring, it's not D&D.
Even-
it's very
right.
different. The Walking
Even their
Dead,
systems, like most of their systems are the same system, but
Right.
they're all different and tailored to that
Yes.
specific world,
Yep.
which is fantastic.
So then you get into things like The Walking Dead or Twilight, or then you get into like some of the 2D20 games like Star Trek. I think those games all have a place at the table because they're all different. So if you want to but if I want to play fantasy, I'm going to pick between AD&D or Shadow Dark or OSC. I'm not going to keep buying systems. I mean, I've got Hyperborea sitting here. I have Arcanum. I've got Dragon Slayer. I've got some 3rd edition books. I bought the core 4th edition books, never played any of it, barely even looked at them. If you ask me now, I don't think I know it's an unpopular opinion because everybody has what they like, but I don't think there's a need for more and more and more of the same thing coming out. Yeah, like Dave said, they're vanity projects. So I could sit here and say, I want to take those rules and rewrite it. I want to change the wording on it and change a couple rules and call it my system. And that's what a lot of things are these days.
Well, do you guys think that some of it is because it's so easy to do it? Like what people will do is they'll take a system like say Shadow Dark or whatever and say, okay, I like this about it. I don't like this, and then they start writing their own house rules for it and everything else. And before you know it, they end up having a PDF that's basically their own game, right, for their home game. And then, at that point, if you already got it written up, it's super simple to just upload it to Drive Through and just start selling it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's tough. The idea of buying the same game with somebody else's house rules, because I don't know about you, but
Right.
There is not
There's a
an
million of
adventure-
them out there that are doing well,
There is not an adventure module sitting on my shelf that's ever been run as written. Never. Because I don't care who wrote it and how good you may think their writing was. There's something in it I don't like, and I'm going to change it. I'm going to tailor it to my world, and I'm going to change it. So the same could be said for systems. That's why when I play 2nd edition, I go with the core rules, and then I decide what I want to add to it. If I want to
Dan
add to it.
and Froghead came out with their own white box clone Necromancer game. I did see that. I didn't grab that. When I asked who made it different from the other clones on the Discord, people got big time mad and like I attacked them. I don't know. I don't know enough about it. But
Listen, it's understandable. People get defensive about the system that they enjoy and run.
yeah,
And I'm not saying any of them are wrong. I mean, listen, man, I ran Castle and Crusades for years. I don't run it anymore. I know lots of people still play it, and that's fine. I think, though, Castles and Crusades really began the OSR. I think they tout the fact that they've never had a 2nd edition. That's very debatable with the amount of changes
Wow.
they've made over the years and with this reforged
11
stuff.
printings of the same edition.
I think
Okay.
Castles and Crusades really could have benefited from a new edition with some
Yeah.
serious changes to it over the
That's-
years.
that's like a question that I wanted to ask you guys too about that. And since you're kind of bringing that up, I want to talk about that. There's systems like Castles and Crusades, Dungeon Crawl Classics, where they've set, and others have done it right, but they're not as they're not as prolific. Like they don't have a new version of the book, a new printing of the book every year. Like you could say that like white box hasn't changed or whatever, but there's no like new additions, there's no edits, there's no reprints.
Right.
So Goodman Games and Troll Lord, has basically said, hey, we're gonna reprint this, we're gonna fix this, we're gonna just keep, we're gonna keep the same thing, and everything's gonna be 100% compatible all the time. I mean, there's something to be said about that. I mean, a lot of people get upset, and you have these edition wars whenever a new version of D&D comes out. Right, you always have the people that are like, no, I'm sticking with this, and you've got the people who say, no, I'm switching to the new, and they're always at each other's throats. And I mean, Pathfinder, I mean, you still see it with Pathfinder players now, where there's the diehard Pathfinder 1E guys, and there's the diehard Pathfinder 2 guys, and so back and forth. But I mean, do you guys think it's worth it to keep the same system, or should a system come out with different versions, different editions?
I think they gotta, I think they have to make some sort of effort to make sure, like if you bought 20 books for the first time it came out, and then they come out like they did with 4th edition with a totally uncompatible system, that's going to cause some issues. But I mean, yeah, I mean, you should, like look at Hyperborea, right? Like there hasn't been huge changes to Hyperborea, but there have been changes, and there's 3 editions of Hyperborea, but they're all very well done, and they're like it's the next, and then like the last one wasn't even a new edition, like what they just did. That was just him putting in basically the 1 page of errata that he had discovered over time, and a new printing. That's a new printing, right? Like when you start changing fundamental rules and stuff, that's you're leaning more into new edition era. And I think that's okay. I mean, and I think, I play Castles and Crusades, and yeah, they could definitely do with a lot of things. But
I'll tell you what ultimately drove me away from Castles and Crusades was the constant reprinting of stuff. But when they do it, they take things and they constantly move things from this book to this book, and they keep switching them around to get you to buy them. And it's like, oh, we're going to take these classes. You bought the Adventures backpack, and this is where it is. But now we're going to make a new version of it, and we're going to move that over to the new Castles Keepers Guide. So we're going to run a new printing of the Castle Keeper Guide. So they've just announced they're doing another print run of the Player's Handbook. But guess what we're going to do? We're going to put new art on it again. We just did new art, but we're going to do it again to get you to throw your money at the same exact book with the same errors in it, the same printing mistakes, with a new piece of art on it. And it just got old to me. I'm like, to me, that's pure grift. I'm sorry. I like the guys, but that is just like, how much money can we suck out of our loyal fan base?
And I don't like fully disagree with you, Mike, but I mean, you got to understand, right, that a company that prints RPGs, like they have to reprint, they have to update.
They do.
They have to come out with new.
That's why I said there should have been an actual 2nd edition at some point where they made changes. The thing I also don't like is when they'll change rules, they'll be like, okay, first aid cantrip. First aid cantrip used to stop you from dying. Now it stops you from dying and can heal you for hit points. That was a change that they just made as they did reprints, and then they're like, "Oh, by the way, that changed."
The Reforged edition definitely, I think, they should have went to a 2nd edition and called it a 2nd edition and fixed their stuff. In my opinion,
and I do think I have some problems with Siege and the way it operates, especially as you get higher levels. And I think they know there's problems with it because they offer all kinds of alternatives to it, and then they don't even play them by the rules. It's like if you're not even going to play your own rule set, you're going to offer all kinds of alternatives. Maybe there's something wrong with that part of the rule. Maybe that needs another pass.
Sure.
And like you said about Hyperborea, at least he sits and looks at his rule system and plays it over time and says, okay, this is the complaints people have. Let's make some changes here. Doesn't have to be drastic. Just fix things, and maybe say, okay, we're going to put out a new edition. It's compatible, but there's going to be a few rule changes here,
Jason, where are you at with with reprint. I'm sorry, Mike. Did you want to?
I just wanted to agree with Rooster. That's exactly.
Oh,
my
what
point.
did? I'm sorry. Yeah, but when they reprint, there should be progressive changes. And never play with published rules. Yeah, right. Sure. No, I agree. I agree. Yeah, right. Well, I mean, yeah, I don't think any. I mean, this is a different debate. It's going to turn into that. But yeah, I mean, I don't think any publisher like they play with their rules. I mean, everybody has their own ideas and the way things should be run, and then I think that there's a way that things should be and put out there. But Jason, where are you on all this as far as additions versus reprintings and
I think if you're just fixing errata, there's no problem with doing a new print. It's still first edition or whatever. Yeah, I think about Shadowrun like that a lot. First edition Shadowrun and second edition were very, very similar, but there were changes. So it was not, first 1.5, it was second edition. And then third edition was completely different from second edition and fourth and fifth and so on. It just kind of, I guess for me, just kind of depends on the degree of change. I don't want to dump on CNC for the reasons
Sure.
that Mike said. We know those guys. They like us and we like them, so I'm not going to bash on them. But there is no denying from an objective viewpoint that you can say they've treated all their customers fairly. I do not believe they have. Castles and Crusades is in a desperate need of a second edition. Ground up, start building a whole new system, fix all these things that Mike, you, me, Dakota, that we have all gone and talked to Steven and said, this is an issue, this needs to be fixed. Totally agree. And we've already talked about that. I don't want to drag on all night long.
Yeah.
Go back and watch, I think it was episode 2 where we talked about CNC at length. But about different versions of OSR or what have you. For me, I don't really care. I don't care if because I keep glancing. All my OSR stuff is over here, so I keep looking over here, and and every time I do, I smile. I look at Hyperborea, and Hyperborea is different enough from Dragon Slayer that I'm like totally different rule set. It's got some, it's BX, it's got similarities, but and I look at Joe Block's AD&D, different. But for me, I'm not really concerned about how different the rules are. I like the settings to be different. And there are rule sets for settings that require them to be different. This is one of my favorite settings, Baptism of the Fire.
Yeah.
It's in Poland. It's in early medieval Poland. It's dark and gritty. And I love that. And, well, you could easily do that with 5th edition. No, you could not. You absolutely could not do dark and gritty with 5th edition because 5th edition, as everybody has already said, you're playing superheroes. It's fantasy superheroes. And that is Baptism of Fire. You can get hit by a dagger for one point and you're dead, or you'll bleed out, or you'll get infected and die. And, and then I can't reach Pendragon from where I'm sitting, but I see my box of Pendragon. Pendragon is specifically written for that setting. So it works, and honestly, it only works in that setting. It doesn't work in like heroic fantasy. It's not heroic fantasy. And I'm also thinking about from a different point of view. When I found the Pendragon box originally, my wife and I were out for the weekend, and I'm laying on the floor of the bed and breakfast we were at, and I'm flipping through Pendragon. My wife saw it. She goes, "Oh, that looks badass. I would play that." And I was like, "Whoa. Excuse me?" Because my wife has zero interest in D&D. So for her to tell me that she would like to play something like that, I'm like, okay, I need to memorize these rules because I would love to be able to spend Wednesday evening running my wife through a Pendragon game. I think that'd be incredible. But anyway, sorry, I'm starting to go off on tangents.
No, you're good.
Trying not to. I don't mind more OSR or more Shadow Dark or whatever. But for me, it's the settings that are important. And I like it when the settings require their own rules or the rules are written for a specific setting because I want to enjoy the setting the way the author had envisioned it. Talking about games that are just terrible. I'm a huge Old West fan. So anytime I see an Old West RPG, I pick it up and take a look at it. And the first one I found was I don't know. It was, I don't know if it was self-published or what, but my God, it was terrible. It's one of the few RPG books I bought it, brought it home, and sold it the next day. It was absolutely awful. A week later, I found a 3.5 version of the Old West, and I'm a big fan of 3.5. So I looked at it and like I easily understood everything in the game. Awesome. Wrecked, some of the guys from Free League made Tales of the Old West a little complicated. It like Free League stuff. It's its own system and it's a little wonky, but the product's amazing and the rules are really good. And I've also got Aces and Eights. Somebody mentioned Aces and Eights a couple of weeks ago. I really like Aces and Eights, but the shot clock on that thing is, my God, does it drag the combat out? You've got to. I'm going to shoot him in his left hand. I roll a
it seems
d20.
very fiddly. Yeah.
Yes, and then I have to place the shot clock, and then I've got to draw a card, and I'm just like, okay, that's too complicated, and it's making the game drag out. But it's still really cool, so I'm okay with having it. So
How much of Baptism of Fire have you dove into? I know it's medieval
I've
Poland.
read through the whole thing.
Death Angel is asking, the difference between.
Yeah,
I know
Yeah,
some
I'm
of the
curious about
magic-
that game too, Jason.
Baptism of Fire is a more angry version of Lion and Dragon. And also an important part of, Lion and Dragon is England. It's
Yeah.
in fact, I think it takes place in the War of the Roses, that time.
Yeah, War of the Roses. Yeah.
The Baptism of Fire is, it's Poland, and it's during just like the early medieval, late Dark Ages, early medieval. So everything sucks, and that's one of the things I like about it. I'm really not giving you as much information as I would like to. Tell you what, give me a couple weeks, I will read both of them, and I will give you a full critique on them. And
There you
I
go,
mean that I
Death
really
Angel.
will, because I'm thoroughly interested in them. But like when I read Lion and Dragon, I was like, this is great. This is like high medieval, almost Renaissance, but not quite. It's like the peak of medieval society. Whereas Baptism of Fire is like at the beginning of medieval society, where all these petty warlords are fighting each other, and anybody caught in their path is just going to be destroyed. I really like that, and I wish that other systems were able to incorporate that kind of setting into their play, because most are not. Even Joe Block's AD&D, Hyperborea, Dragon Slayer, those games are not meant for that. They're high fantasy, and that's fine. I have no problem with that. Baptism of Fire, and I think Lion and Dragon also. There's no healing, dude. There's no cleric walking around casting first level healing spells on you. That does not. Healing takes a long freaking time. So for me, it's that. I've talked so many times about realism in my stuff. I really like that. So one of the things that it stops you from doing it as a player, if I'm playing a fighter and there's 5 orcs, if I've got a cleric at my back, I know I'm good to go, because he's got a couple of healing spells, and if I fall, he'll be able to pick me up, no problem. Baptism of Fire, there's 5 bandits in the middle of the road, and the first level fighter is going to go jump the 5 bandits. He's dead. You don't do that kind of thing. So it makes you step back and say, ambush these guys, talk to them, avoid them. It really makes you concentrate on what you're doing versus just throw the meat wall at the enemy and see what happens.
Yeah.
I will read them both, and I will let you know in a couple of weeks, because
Rooster's
do this.
Rooster's asking about, do we need rule sets? Do we need all the rule sets in this game? Or do we need the different game designs? And I consider those the same question. And I agree with you, Rooster, that and Ducato said this, obviously. You play enough different systems, eventually you find one that you like, and that's I think it's worth minor differences and stuff for that.
Hey, Jason,
Yes, sir.
have you ever played Twilight 2000?
Oh boy, here we go.
I played
This
I'm gonna
seems
go
like
take a
this seems like this would be right up your alley.
Would you like the short version? I'll give you the short version.
Just the
because
short version.
everyone's already heard it. I played the original in high school when I was a kid, and the first Free League game I ever saw was 4th edition Twilight. Roger and I were at PAX,
That was
and we were walking down the hall, and I saw 4th edition Twilight, and I looked at it and I went, holy F. And I was like, this is Twilight 2000. And then there was a Free League rep there. And he was like, yeah. And I was like, is this like a reprint of the old stuff? He said, oh, no, it's the same game, modern rules, blah, 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 blah. Yes, dude, I have played Twilight 2K many times, and I absolutely love it.
Have you played this 4th edition version?
I sure have.
And you like it?
Oh, yeah.
I really, that's a game I really want to get to the table because I think it could be a lot.
The ammo rules are flawless to me. I love the ammo rules. I love the military tactics that it talks about in the game. In fact, you can't see it, but it's over on the far corner over here, starting over on the left. That's the base game, all 3 book expansions. I've backed the pre-order that's coming out whenever the hell it gets printed.
Yeah, I keep thinking about buying all the other stuff, even though I haven't got it to the table yet. And it's so dense. There's so much there. I mean, that box set is so heavy. You can break somebody's jaw with that thing.
It sure is, man.
I mean, that's like a freaking brick.
And that's, Roger and I went back to the hotel, and I opened up that 4th edition Twilight 2000, and I was blown away by the quality because, again, my first time ever seeing Free League, so I didn't really know what they had. I was blown away by the quality of it. The art was great, and I started reading through the rules. And one of the things that I like about Twilight 2000 is you can do squad warfare, you can do platoon, whatever, but that's not really what it is. You can have 2 surviving military guys mixed in with a group of 5 civilians, a doctor, a civilian doctor, a reporter that was here to see everything and then got trapped. It's so good, man. Yeah.
So I haven't even read through it enough. Is there like a really deep scavenging system to it or any of that kind of stuff? Yeah. I love that kind of stuff.
One of the times I was playing it, I was the only military guy that was in the group, which I like, by the way. And so we took out an enemy. We defeated an ambush, and the bad guys were using AKs. And so at the end of the fight, we're all scavenging ammo, and one of the guys took an AK, so we gave him all of that 7.62 because we're all using American-made rifles, 5.56. And so after the guy took the AK, I broke open the rest of them and I threw the bolts in the river. And one of the guys was like, "Why are you doing that?" And I was like, "Well, without the bolt, this rifle will never get used again, and we can just drop it and never have to worry about it." And he was like, "Wow, that's really cool." And I was like, "Oh, good. That landed the way I was hoping it would." But it's things like that. But the scavenging, you absolutely need to scavenge because the Russians have dropped nukes. That's the whole point of this.
Right.
Drop nukes. The big counterattack by the Americans totally failed. And the last thing that comes over the radio is you're on your own.
Right.
And the game means that you are on your own, dude. Yeah. So every single thing you see, think of, can I use that for something? Because you're going to want it later on.
I've been dying for a post-apocalyptic setting, and I really like Twilight. I would prefer a system that had that wasn't military based. It was more of just survivors in a post-apocalyptic setting. I think that would be.
That's totally what it is. Like I said, it's a military based game.
Play Mutiny Zero.
Yeah.
I've looked at it.
It's a military based game, but like I said, you don't even have to have any military guys. You can be a squad. You can be a bunch of refugees trying to go from A to B, or just you're trying to get the hell away from everybody because everybody wants to kill you.
Yep.
Yeah, it's very, very good.
Yeah, Matt says, thank God I own TL 2000 already because Jason would have sold me on it. So,
and Full Metal Dragon. Guys, honestly, I'm delighted to hear that. I want people to go and get the base game. It's $50.
Yep.
Get the base game. Check it out. I promise, man, you're going to love it. Yeah.
What have you ever played DayZ on PC?
I'm aware of it. I've never played it.
That's Dave's asking. Yeah.
But I've got a thriving Steam account. Nothing saying I can't check it out.
So really? Matt, I have the Walking Dead set, and I really want to get that one to the table.
So the only thing that turned me off on it was I'm not big on the whole like zombies thing. Like, so it's interesting to see that you can run it without it.
Yeah, listen, did you ever watch The Walking Dead?
Yeah,
the zombies aren't the main enemy in the show. Never have been.
I watched it.
It's always the people.
I watched it to the point where the guy got his hand cut off or he cut his hand off on the roof in the handcuff.
So
That was as far as I
the
got.
not even
Like
finished
2
the first
episodes?
season. Yeah, you didn't even finish the first season. It was
think
only a
like
6
2
episode.
episodes in.
The first season was 6 episodes. So
Yeah.
yeah, you might have made it 3 or 4 in, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. I don't even think I made it that far. Like I
I
said, the
don't know.
last thing I remember seeing was the guy's hand hanging in the handcuff when they go up to the roof.
Listen, I the show's dragged on forever, but I've watched it all. I like the setting. The zombies are the background. They're the difficult terrain that gets in the way. You know, they're not the enemy.
Yeah.
Right. And the game is designed that way too. You know, the zombies are not the main enemy in the game, but they're the thing that you got to pay attention to because they can overwhelm you and they can really screw up your day. I don't know. I like zombie apocalypse shit. I mean, I'm getting ready to watch 28 Years Later and 28 Years Later Bone Temple. The two of them.
I heard 28 Years was not good, but I've heard Bone Temple was pretty good. I've not seen either one of them. I have no personal experience.
See, I've seen 20.
What's Bone Temple?
That's the new one. It's a spin-off of 28 Years Later.
Okay, I didn't even realize they were making. I heard that that one was bad, and I didn't follow anything else.
No, Bone Temple got really good ratings. I know that.
Okay.
But I've watched 28 Days Later and 28 Weeks Later, and so I gotta keep up with it at least.
28
you gotta make
years
a
was probably
28
the
months
weakest
later.
of the 3
Right.
or whatever
Was it?
that had already been out. Yeah,
Yeah, I haven't
was
watched
hard,
it yet.
but the ending is
I did
kinda
too,
weird.
Death Angel, and that's why I never got into Walking Dead. You know, it was the I guess the mid, the early 2000s to the 2020s. It was like everywhere you look, man, there's a freaking zombie thing going, movies, games, video games.
Yeah, right.
And I was just like, okay, I've just so had enough of this.
So I read the
Same reason.
I read the
same reason
comic
I
books
was out.
before there was a
Yeah.
show, and that's how I started with it, was through the comic books.
When I was
And,
stationed in Mississippi, I became very good friends with a guy that owned a local comic shop, and I would go in every Wednesday and pick up my pull. It was always the Punisher and stuff like that. And I went in one day, and there was something for me in the box, and I was like, "Oh my god, what am I going to do?" And he's like, "Well, I've got this series. I think you're really going to like it." And so he gave me the first trade. It's like the first 12 issues of Walking Dead. He said, "Take this one," and I said, "Oh, the first one's free." And he was like, "Yeah." And so I was like, "Okay, I'll check it out." I took it home. I read the whole thing, brought it back to him that Thursday, and I was like, "This is just not for me, dude." I mean, it was well written, but did not interest me in the slightest. And that was the end of my Walking Dead.
Yeah, it was. I just couldn't get through whatever couple episodes that I watched. Same thing. It was like this is just another zombie apocalypse thing. And I know, Mike, you said it wasn't. It's not about zombies or whatever. But like those first few episodes, they were heavy in the zombie thing, and it was just
but
God,
even those first few episodes was also heavy in the whole.
Sure.
It was all about the people. I mean,
Sure.
I don't know. Whatever. I'm not going to try and sell you on it. It's It's a show that obviously went way too long.
Yeah, they should have.
They dragged it out.
There's a lot of stuff in the show that they shouldn't have done. I never finished the series. I have the complete comic book run, and I like it. I enjoy it, but the series just kind of stupid, and some of the choices that they made that diverted from what they were doing in the comic books was like, I don't know why you did this.
Yeah,
I just killed it for me.
The Mutant Epoch. I've never heard of it. You guys,
Nope.
you guys ever hear of that?
no,
Mutant Epoch T100 system.
no. Dead Rain and Mutant Epoch. I'll have to look those up.
Dead Rain, yeah. I have to check those out.
Did any of you guys grow up playing like I don't know, were any of you guys into computer stuff back in say the late 80s, early 90s?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
were you on like local BBSs where you'd log
Oh
in?
yeah.
Okay, so there was I had my handful of games that I played. Twilight.
Oh boy.
Trade Wars 2002 was a big one, which was like a Star Trek clone. I absolutely love that. And you would conquer planets and take all kinds of stuff. And Operation Overkill 2 was one of my favorite games, though, and that was set in an apocalyptic wasteland. And you'd go out there and you could get killed, level 1 and the first creature out there. It was tough, and there was radiation out there, and you were always watching your radiation levels and your food levels, and you could get diseases, and and then you'd be going along, and all of a sudden this guy shows up and he's firing at you from ranged and comes and attacks you, and and you had to kill these people to get their weapons to progress. But then as you progressed, you'd find out later in the game, they had these things called the Hydrates, which were aliens. You didn't know they were aliens at the time, but these Hydrates that would attack you. And if they killed you, they captured you and they would throw you in their prison. And it was like 3 days in prison. Like 3 real days you would log in and you'd just be sitting in a cell unless some other player came to rescue you. And they could go they could kill Hydrates and get prison keys and then break into the prison and get you out of there. It was very cool. I really liked the setting.
I love that.
And they had an oracle that was like in different locations in the world. And if you ran into her, she could give you information about the Hydrate mothership. And, me and a buddy of mine used to play it all the time. And every time a game would start somewhere, we'd work our way up towards it. And you get to the Hydrate mothership and you kill the Hydrate queen, and the game ended. It would tell everybody that you defeated it all and conquered the wasteland. But man, you had little missile silos that you could get into, and you'd find key cards, and you could activate nukes and blow up other people's bases. And I just absolutely loved it because it was all about collecting all this stuff to progress. And that's, I've yet to find an RPG game that was that type of setting where it really, it was deadly to move around out in that wasteland, but you had to if you wanted to do anything.
I love that it was real time.
Yeah.
I loved all those games back in the day, the old with the text graphics, whatever. Those were awesome. It was really, really good stuff.
Well, what Mike just described is actually closer to the pitch of Walking Dead than what actually got published, because they wanted to have the zombie apocalypse thing, but then they get to the end, it's all caused by aliens. So I mean, pretty close. I wonder if I forget who the creator's name is, but I wonder if he also played the same game as you and was just like, you know what, let me write a comic about that.
Are you talking about Robert Kirkman?
There you go.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know.
Could be.
I don't know.
Could be. Yeah, that's interesting. So they wanted it to be aliens? Is that
the end was the zombies are being caused by aliens? But I mean, I've read the entire comic.
Is that what it is actually?
No, I mean, not to spoil anything, but no. You get to the end and it's like they never really explain what caused the zombies. It's just like you get to the end and that's it. That's just life now. Like, how they said COVID's the new normal? Well, zombies are the new normal. And
zombies are the new normal. Okay.
So
I guess I don't know.
Not to spoil the book for anyone. It's been out for a while though. So
like
if you haven't read it, you haven't read it.
Yeah. No, I don't think I'll read it. I thought about going back and trying to watch it again, but I don't know if that
the show's bad. The show's bad. I like Norman Reedus, but like Daryl in the comics, he's not there. He doesn't exist. Like it's all Andrea. They took the role from this badass chick and gave it to a badass dude. And it's just the show sucks, man. Compared to the comics. I mean, I know that's what people say. The book's better, but in this case, it actually there's nothing redeeming about the show. I hate the show. The show takes every aspect of the book and drags it. Where the book is just like, okay, this is what it is. We're on to the next thing. And there's
a lot of pointless episodes like where they just, like Joe said, drag it out, and they did butcher some characters. Like Andrea is like awesome in the book.
A lot of characters.
fucking idiot. Like her character sucked so bad in the show.
Yep.
It was
I
awful.
still think that you could. I still think you could take that Free League game and make it into something great. Ignore the show because
Well,
you're
yeah.
not. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
none of those characters
Do your
are
own
there.
thing.
Yeah, do your
Yeah.
own thing.
100%.
So you think you think you can take that game, and I get that you could take any game, right, and make it anything, but you can take the Walking Dead game and play it as a post-apocalyptic game without the zombies, and it would be
Oh,
fine.
I don't.
Mm.
I mean, no, it's based around the zombies as the main stress point of the game.
Sure.
You know, so it's a role playing game where it's the other humans in there are the biggest enemy, but the zombies are the big stress point in the game.
Yeah.
They're the ones that are going to interrupt all the shit and really cause you problems when they show up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like-
I mean, even in the show and the show and the comic, like you have these locations. There's things happening at locations in either one of those, right? Zombies are what keep the characters moving from location to
Right.
location. They're like
Right. It's like
Yeah.
your torch timer. It's
Yeah.
it's
Right.
yeah,
it's
exactly.
it's putting that stress point on the players to keep
Putting
them
pressure,
moving.
yeah.
Don't sit still because the zombies will get you.
No, I
But
get
you
it.
got-
I'm just not a zombie guy. Like I don't.
Yeah,
you know.
but I guess to answer your question, it goes back to what I said to you earlier. Find the right tool for the job. If you want to make a
Sure.
post-apocalyptic without zombies, don't start with a base of The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what I
maybe
was asking.
maybe
Yeah.
maybe start with what's it
Gamma
called again?
World.
Free League's first game there. What's it called?
Mutant Year
A
Zero.
Mutant Year-
Mutant Year Zero. Yeah.
I was kind
mean-
of turned off by that game for some reasons, which I'm not going to go into on live, but there were some things that turned me off on that game. But no, I'm sure it's a fine game. It wasn't the
It was
it
fun.
wasn't the
We
game.
played it.
It wasn't the game. It was the people that it was supposed to happen with. That was
Oh.
the issue. So it kind of turned me off on that.
Well,
there.
Well, we were talking sandboxes earlier. Somebody in chat asked me if I had something about some sandbox supplement. Does anybody?
On the
It
live
was-
chat.
It was on the live chat earlier.
I'll see if I can find it. At the Edge Lord, I think you're right. I think like I'm not a huge fan of the Zombicide games, but the Zombicide Black Plague game was awesome. I played that and it was
Cool
really
minis.
cool. and
Cool
yeah, and real cool minis.
Sandbox generator. Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, there you go.
I don't know what that is. I was gonna say
Yeah,
I like the D30 stuff, the D30 Sandbox Companion, and the D30.
yeah, that's probably that's
DM
what I was
companion?
thinking.
yeah.
That's what I was thinking it was, the sandbox generator.
These are great. I printed these out, and they're great if you want to just generate stuff for your sandbox.
Yeah, the D30 stuff. Yeah.
I'll have to look
Um,
up sandbox generator. I
Oh,
don't know what
sandbox generator. No. That's yeah, I have that. That's I'm gonna botch this name. Atelier Clandestine
I see it.
sandbox generator. Yeah, I have that somewhere. I think I've got the I think I got a soft cover book of it. But yeah, I've definitely got the PDFs for it. It's neat. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
I see it on drive-through. I'll have to check it out.
Yeah. PDF is $12 or
Yeah.
soft cover books 18. That's not bad at all. But yeah, no, there's definitely a lot of neat things in there for figuring things out, and that might work for what you're what we were talking about earlier and doing stuff where you can generate stuff on the fly. It's got everything in there. Dungeons and all the other stuff. So
Mhm.
I don't know. Might be neat to try and figure it out. Maybe I'll try that with Shadow Dark and see what happens. Just
What,
do a
the
live
sandbox generator?
generation. Yeah, and do a live generation thing. We talked about doing something like that on the air, on live, like doing a like a campaign building kind of
Mhm.
thing where we pull some tables out from some books, build a map, hex map, just like with the 19, hexes there, and then place some settlements and a couple dungeons and like design like the whole thing, on right on stream. So, yeah, no, that'd be cool. Yeah, we had a conversation going in the private chat about baptism of fire. It's it's D20 based. It's sort of BX, but it uses you roll on a chart for level ups. Not completely unlike Shadow Dark. You roll, but you roll. You can pick one, or you can roll 2 results for every level up. But
Like
you
that Star
don't
Wars
get
game.
hit points. Yes. That the Star Wars game that I ran was based on that. But you don't get hit points at every level. If you're like a fighter class, you automatically get like 2 hit points a level. But in order to get like a die roll of hit points, you have to roll it on the chart or choose it.
Yeah, so if you're sucking on hit points and don't want to leave it to fate, you can just pick, okay, I'll get 1d8 hit points this level. But that's the only thing you get. You don't get a bonus to hit or a new skill or anything like that. Yeah. I always roll because why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
You get 2 versus 1.
Yeah, right.
Right.
And and you definitely can build like glass cannons with that, where like it ends up being fair because you might have a guy that's got 4 attacks and it's really great with a gun. He's got like a +6 to a gun.
With
and he gets
4
like
hit
4
points.
attacks. Yeah, and then he's got 4 hit points. So it's like, yeah, great. He can run in and like start shooting, but like if he gets tagged, like he's done. So yeah. Yeah, it's interesting to see those kind of things.
It's funny you just mentioned glass cannon. So I'm not a big actual play guy. Usually they bore the hell out of me. I started watching the glass cannons.
Cannon.
I started watching their Shadow Dark one, and
I've heard it's good.
I'm 9 episodes into it now, and I'm absolutely loving it. I mean, the first part
is
they're only about an hour and a half long. I could tell you now, I'm on episode 9. They have not gone to town. They haven't caroused. They haven't done any of that stuff. They've had a handful of combats. It's a heavy role-playing system, a role-playing game.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a very good way. If you wanted to look at it and say, okay, how can I run a long-form campaign out of it? Watch theirs and watch how they do it, because you absolutely can.
Are they doing wilderness exploration and all that? Or
they're running Cursed Scrolls 1. They're running the Gloaming from Cursed Scrolls 1.
Okay, cool.
And
I watched that.
I would love to send it to my players to be like, hey, watch this, because my players, I got to tell you, when we sit down at the table, it's so. First of all, some of the guys seem to think that role playing means you got to use funny voices and everything. Yeah, listen, I don't care if somebody wants to get into character and use voices. It doesn't bother me at all. Sometimes I'll do it, sometimes I won't. But even when you watch them, a lot of times they don't use voices, but they still role play. They're in characters all the time. No, they don't die very often. Dave's right. He gives them. They just capped it. Now they get 3 luck tokens each. They can hold on to, but they use them a lot. They miss their checks. They're just dropping them.
Yeah, even Matt saying it's the only actual play that he watches.
It's enjoyable to watch. I like it. It's
they love freely.
It gets my attention. I can actually sit and watch it for an hour and a half. I mean, if you put Critical Role in front of me, I'm bored after 5 minutes because I don't know. It just doesn't seem genuine.
Because it's I think Matt like that this is the thing here, right? They edit their episodes obviously that it's Friends, not a TV show. Whereas Critical Role, I think, is the other way.
And listen, they get the rules pretty wrong on a bunch of things. They just started Shadow Dark, and I see them getting them wrong. I'm like, no, that's not how it works.
You're yelling at the screen.
Well, like the one guy rolled his talent to get advantage on a spell cast, so he chose Magic Missile, and I'm thinking, you already get advantage on Magic Missile, and he doesn't realize that because he's just like my player at the table that didn't read the spell enough to understand that he got that. So he used that talent to give him that, where he could have used it for something else. It's a minor thing, but it's something that, like, with my players, as soon as I realized what they did, like with him, I was like, I sent a text out and I'm like, listen, guys, read your freaking rules. You know, I shouldn't be the one to tell you
Oh,
that you should have been
Matt
getting
says they
advantage.
fixed it. Matt says they fixed it.
Yeah, they did
Oh.
fix it.
And that's fine. I understand. I mean,
Get your facts
I'm-
right, Mike.
listen, I'm sure we're getting rules wrong at the table. I mean, we obviously did about the carousing, and that's why I corrected it after the first time they did it.
Sure.
Yeah.
This is me at the table every time we play Shadow Dark. Okay, page 51.
Yeah.
Here's how you do. And I'm not trying to be an ass about it. It's just none of us know the rules.
No, we're figuring it
So,
out.
so
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
comes up, and I'm like, okay, it's got to be in here. It has
But
to
the
be.
nice part about it is there aren't a ton of rules. So, and
And they're
if you mess
super
something,
concise.
right?
There's,
And if you,
there's no gray area.
oh,
Really, you think
I
there's a
think
lot
so.
of gray?
I think there's a
Sometimes.
lot of gray area in Shadow
I
Dark.
can't
Really?
remember where.
Yeah,
I can't remember. We've had a couple things at the table. I don't remember where we've had to like decide on how something was going to work.
yeah.
I was messing up the whatever the heal spell is, cure light wounds or something, and I thought it was like other systems where it's 1d6 plus half your level, rounded down. But it's actually a whole other die, and Andrew pointed that out to me, and I was like, oh, I'm an idiot, because I can read something 10 times, but like the first time if it's the first time I read it and I make a mistake, every other subsequent time I read it, it's just, okay, I'm reading it wrong
Yeah.
again. And so he pointed out to me, I was like, wait a second, what? And then, so.
I got to tell you, for a couple episodes of that, the one thing I didn't like was the fact that I don't know all their names yet, but the one guy that's playing the wizard just cast sleep over and over and over, and sleep was his go-to spell for everything. But then I started thinking about it after a couple episodes of it, and I'm like, this is only going to last him so long. As soon as they
right.
go beyond second level,
Yep. It's
creatures,
useless.
it's useless.
Yep.
So let him get it out of the way now.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah.
because it's not going to benefit him for long.
Well, that's
The-
the same
the
way
ol-
it was in any of the OSR, any of the OSR games, White Box, you go, to first edition or whatever. Sleep is that's like the god spell for, orcs
Yeah.
and goblins and all that,
Yeah.
Right.
The only
Yeah, but-
gray that I'm thinking of offhand is distance, and that does irritate me. But I just treat it as anything in my face is close, anything inside this orb of light is near, anything past that is far. And that was kind of how we resolved that. So as far as other gray stuff, it could be because I don't have a lot of experience with it yet. But I'm not like there hasn't been, going back to CNC, man, you couldn't turn a page without being like, what the hell does this mean? What am I supposed to do with this? Shadow Dark, man, I'm like, oh, okay, it's cool. I've got a pretty solid handle on this.
CNC's problem with that was because they copied and pasted rules from third edition and didn't copy all of it. So they'd leave out parts, and all of a sudden you'd be like, how does this work? This doesn't make sense. What about this part of it?
Yeah.
And and then their idea of fixing it was to throw some errata stuff in the middle of the Castle Keeper's Guide. Like, oh, well, here, this, the magic stone spell. Here it is in the middle of the guide on some, random page about spells, and this is the errata for it. Rather than just fixing it in the reprint of the player's handbook.
Right.
Let's
right.
keep it. It's just horrible. Horrible. But
Right. Yeah.
like I said, my biggest struggle switching over has been like leaving behind second edition because of all the stuff I have.
Mhm.
But I'm starting to look at it. I'm like, we even thought about starting a second edition campaign in the future. And I was like, maybe I'll hand over the reins and let somebody else run Shadow Dark while I prep a campaign. And then I'm looking at it and I'm going, I know these guys are going to want this kit and they're going to want to do this. And then the whole stacking of bonuses, like Rooster's talking about the shield, and somebody brought up the thing about strength not adding to your damage bonus. I like that. I like the fact that it's real simple bonuses. You're not stacking. It's not like, hey, I got a +1 sword and I've got specialization in this and I've got this and I've got that. And I've got my strength bonus. And, I like the fact that it's just like, You get your +2 attack. You get your magic sword. That's it. Have at it.
Right.
Well,
Yeah,
you know,
and the
but
fighters got their
fighters do get a strength
Yeah.
bonus, and you know, earlier on, Mike, you made the
Well,
comment.
it's a damage bonus. It's a
Right.
damage bonus. It's not a strength bonus. But yeah,
You know,
No, fighter-
yeah, right?
no.
Yes, that's true. They
Fight-
get a damage bonus, not the strength bonus. But you know, I like that the classes have, you know, like the thief is the only one that can walk into a room and say there's a trap over there. You know,
But
the
wait a minute,
fighter's
wait
the
a-
only one that
wait-
gets that damage bonus. Go ahead.
No, fighter doesn't get a damage bonus from strength though.
No, he just gets a
No, no.
damage bonus.
He just gets a free weapon specialization.
yeah.
Pick one weapon and you get a +1 to hit and a +1 to damage.
Oh, it doesn't apply to all his weapons.
No.
Oh, okay. Well,
No,
see,
he picks a weapon.
I've only
He
played
picks-
the thief.
Yeah, he picks a weapon.
Okay.
But he also
Yeah.
gets +1 damage for every other level, or it's like his level divided by 2 is like a damage bonus,
Kind of like the
Yeah.
thief's backstab bonus, where
Yeah.
you get extra dice.
something like that. Yeah.
Okay, you might be right. I
That's
don't know.
for the thief. It's an extra die, I believe, and for the fighter, it's just an extra +1.
Cool.
You're talking about like Nabil, how he switches weapon after
He
picked his
was
weapon
driving me
specialty.
freaking crazy with that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember him saying
Page
something
18
about that.
fighter class weapon
Yeah,
mastery.
so it's only that one weapon though.
Yeah.
Right. Unless you roll another weapon mastery thing.
Right.
Right.
So
and
you
then
gain
can have-
+1
so
to
like our
attack and
fighter-
damage.
Our
then
fighter
it-
has 3 like weapon mastery things because he's rolled it twice.
Right. So at third level, you get a +2 to attack and +2 to damage.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. No. Yeah.
Yeah.
Half your level rounded down. Yeah. It's not bad.
no, it's not, especially since monsters are deadly in Shadow Dark. They just are.
Right.
I find them way
Yeah.
more deadly than AD&D. So
Yeah.
So I feel like the conversation's kind of become like it's gone from do we need all these rule books to do we need all these books? So I just want to like go completely off the chart, and I want to bring up this book
You,
Vermis.
Joe, off the chart.
Yeah,
Usually
off
that's
the
the rest
chart,
of us.
yeah. Vermis, which is
Oh yeah,
a
the
little-
video game book.
yeah, it's
I already don't like it.
it's well, that's okay.
I can't read the
Um,
font, and I'm like, okay, next.
It's like a fake video game guide to like a video game that never came out, but it has so many like I like the art, and it has like so many good ideas in it that like I just take for any kind of game. And I, I was talking to Ken earlier about this one thing that happens in the book, and I put it as a puzzle in my game. And some groups got it, and some groups didn't. But yeah, there's just a ton of stuff in here, and like you could turn to like any page in the book and just kind of, I mean, like I'll turn to any page in the book right now randomly, and like so here's like, I know you
Okay,
can't read
yeah.
it, but like it looks like
I'll
there's a
make it so you can
monster
read
on one page, and then like something that happens story wise, and another maybe like a little item thing or whatever. And whatever page you turn to, it's got something that I feel like you could at least make one dungeon room out of, and it's pretty cool. They're actually up to the third Vermis book, and I just think they're cool. There's no rules. It's just a little. It's set up like if you ever got one of those like guidebooks for like a RPG, it's set
Yeah.
up like that, but it's, I don't know. There's a little story in it, and it's kind of cool to like read through it, and like like here's the front cover,
Yeah.
here's the back, and they're up to the third one now. Like the third one was on pre-order. I don't know if it came out yet or not, but it's just a little book that like I look at it like a book full of ideas, and also it's just
sure.
like a little fun read through. So I haven't read the third one. Third one might be crap, but the first two I liked them.
Yeah. This
Roger, can you
yeah,
throw
Mike,
that-
I saw that. I'll
Can
put
you-
that in the thing.
yeah, put
This
that
is
up
Tom
there.
Wilson's.
Yeah, so Ducato, I was going to point that out. He's got a new Kickstarter that just started. I backed it today. There's the
Yeah.
Oh,
link for it.
Tom.
I
Yeah.
put
Yeah.
that in the thing. Monastery of Misanthropy. by
That's good stuff.
Tom Wilson. He's the Shire Con, right?
Organize a Shire
um,
Con.
Yeah, good stuff. So this is cool. So this is adventure booklet, about 40 pages, digest size saddle stitch
He's
book.
written a bunch.
11 new monsters specifically designed for this adventure, nearly 40 encounter areas, each detailed in typical Shadow Dark fashion. Adventure should take players 1 to 3 sessions to complete. Yeah, so that's cool.
Yeah, I mean, and
Cool
it's
stuff.
it's inexpensive. You know, when you to back it, you can get the PDF or the you get the print on demand coupon.
Yep.
You know, and
Yeah, and
usually
I backed this at the $24 level, so that's the adventure print on demand.
yeah, that's what I did.
I have
And
a
this
few
one,
other ones
actually,
written.
this one isn't the coupon. I think this one he sends you the print because he does them through Lulu.
He
Okay.
wrote these. These are like Conan themed ones.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty
Oh, cool.
And then this is another Shadow Dark one. I haven't run any of these.
Okay, cool.
And then there's this one.
Yeah,
This is like his
Yeah.
mega dungeon.
Any of this
Yeah.
So
stuff,
it's not like
it's a small
crazy
mega dungeon.
sprawling level. Yeah, it's not
Right,
like
it's-
sprawling levels and shit.
Yeah, each
I think
level.
Mike was saying it's 11 levels or something.
Yeah, but each level might have like 10 keyed rooms or something. It's small. It's like you could go through each level in a session. Maybe
Yeah.
faster if your guys rip through it, but
Yeah, you could probably get through some of them.
Right.
And then, half of another one.
right. So I
This,
mean,
one was,
even
this one was pretty neat. This isn't by Tom. This is by Ian McGarty. I played part of this at ShireCon last year.
he's got
It's
another
fun.
Kickstarter going, doesn't he?
Ian?
Yeah, I thought he did.
He
Or
might,
maybe he's-
yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
He
There's
might.
so many going on with Zine Quest going on right
Yeah,
now.
they did the Zine Quest. Yeah.
The
Yeah.
nice thing about
Crazy.
Tom's Kickstarters is like he's way ahead of the game when he launches the Kickstarter. So like
Right.
I've backed 2 of his Kickstarters and they've shipped. I think both of them shipped like ahead of schedule because it's mostly done when he does it.
Right.
Yeah, which
I
is
think
he does-
fantastic.
I think
He does it the
said
right
that-
way.
Like this one, I think he said the book's already written. So as soon as the campaign completes, he just sends the orders to Lulu and they ship to you.
I think I get his newsletter. I think he's doing another Shadow Dark adventure this year and also a Dragon Slayer adventure too.
Yeah.
I'm really interested in the Dragon Slayer.
Really
adventure.
cool.
Yeah.
The problem I have with all these systems, going back to the original topic,
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
trying to get buy-in from your players. When you've got a regular group of
Right.
players and you start a new system, and I even did this with Shadow Dark. I printed up player copies. I first. I started with the just the quick start player guides and printed them for everybody and gave them to them because I don't want to tell the players every time we switch a system to, hey, you got to go out and buy a $50 book or more,
Yeah.
just to sit down at the table, because I get enough pushback of learning new rules. Because while I'll sit here all week and scour the rules and prep adventures and all that stuff, these guys don't do a damn thing from the minute they leave the house till they come back the next week. And there's times where I can tell you it really irritates me and grates on me, but that's what you got,
It's interesting, right? Like, and Jason and I have kind of had this conversation at the table where, we've talked if we've ever switched to like Hyperborea or something like that, like it would be difficult for us to like ask the table, to buy, you know what I mean, to have 6 people, whatever, buy books. And so, we've had the conversation of, okay, if everybody likes this system and people can't afford it, like, we have no problem buying table copies or whatever enough so
Right.
that everybody has one. They can take it home, whatever. If they want to buy it from me or from him or whatever, like on like a layaway, you know what I mean? Give me $5 a week for 12 weeks or whatever. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, we have payment options available.
like whatever. Like, and I don't want to say like, I'm rich or whatever, right? But like, I'm older. I've got a decent job. It's steady. I've got a house, got steady income. So like I can afford like some of this stuff, you know, and I get some players, they can't do that, right? They're not working steadies. Yeah, Rogers Rentone. You know, they're not working steady jobs, or they're not making a lot of money, or they're trying to, you know, pay off student loans, or they're trying to, you know, save up to buy a house or whatever. And so like, yeah, every 6 months they don't want to spend 60, 80, $100 on, you know, new RPG stuff. With Shadow Dark though, like Mike, you mentioned printing the quick starts. I mean, that's a fantastic start. For me,
Yeah.
I print up all the pages, like the 2 pages with the equipment and the pages with the classes on it. And then basically I have those I can sit out on the table. And when we had, you know, Andrew come over and he created his character, I was like, you know, what are you going to make? Whatever. He's like, okay, wizard. I'm like, okay, here's the pages for this. You know, Joe had the spell cards for him to look through, and he's got, you know, and that's all you need. I mean, you don't need, you know, like this huge rule book. I mean, even that, you know, you don't
Huge.
need this whole thing.
That's a huge rule
There's-
book.
It's huge. Well, I'm saying for like you don't need all these, you know, all the pages and everything. I mean, it's a basic D20 system. Like, yeah, it's great to be able to look up the, you know,
Well-
the rules and stuff. But
my thing, like even when we play Castles and Crusades, I bought their, you know, six book bundle or
sure,
5 book bundle or whatever it was, and I just handed them out. And my daughter started a group. You know, she ran a group with high schoolers. I bought them all books, you know, and handed them out. And the only part of that irritates me is I have guys at my table. They're all in the same boat as me. We're all 50 years old. You know, I've got a guy that sits here that worked with me in the prison system. He was a sergeant and he worked a shit ton of overtime. His pension is higher than mine, and he now works in a courthouse. Yet I'm buying him a book.
yeah,
You know, the guy across from me is my next door neighbor, and he's a doctor. And I'm buying him a book. You know, and I'm like, you know, but then
yeah,
if I say we're going to switch systems, I get the grumbling about having to buy a new book, and I'm thinking, the money you guys make, you can fork over $50 to try a new system out. But
yeah.
whatever. So I try and keep it simple now, and the topic came up on the Shadow Dark Discord just today, I believe it was, and I was reading it, and some of the moderators said it's generally considered fair play to give PDFs of the rule book to your players if they don't own the books to get them started. I see that as a little kind of like, I mean, they got to make their money. I mean, I would rather tell my players, go buy the freaking PDF for $10 or $12 or whatever the hell it costs. But I don't know. But,
I don't know. I would rather buy a book and have it be a table copy of the book and say, here you go, because it like I hate electronics at the table, and
right.
like if I were to send Joe the PDF and he were to show up with, sorry Joe to use your example, but like if he shows up with like a tablet with the book on it or whatever, I'd be like, no, get that shit out of here.
I'm the
like
worst
even worse
person,
if he
'cause
prints it out.
I'll print something off a PDF, but I cannot be on my phone. You know, here's my phone. I cannot be on my phone. I own a phone. I cannot be on my phone at the table. Like, oh, let me turn to page blah blah blah. No, dude, let me grab that book. I'm gonna rip it open to like halfway through the book, or wherever I think the thing is about. Like, I cannot. I'm the worst person. I use PDFs. I print things off the PDFs to have a quick reference or whatever. But like, dude, I'm the worst person to use for that example because I hate.
No, I know.
PDFs. Like
No,
people who
I
are on
do
their
it,
phone
dude.
just going like do. Like, how do you do that? I don't even know.
Can I ask you, Roger, what your aversion to printing PDFs is for the table, though?
No, my issue with it is basically if anybody but me does it, that's my problem. Because if anybody, like if I print a PDF, I'm gonna print and I'm gonna bind it and I'm gonna have a cover on it.
Mhm.
And if Joe prints it again, Joe, this isn't towards you. You just happen to be in the room, but like if Joe prints it and shows up with just a stack of paper and it's not even stapled together or whatever, and he's like shuffling through it or whatever, like it's just gonna kill me. it would kill me. No, and it would kill Joe too, I think.
And
Like,
like,
if
I
Andrew was
said,
like,
I'll go grab
I
my
didn't buy a
Shadow Dark book. I'll show you my little thing I printed off real quick. But like, this is
Jason,
my
you were gonna,
set of
you were gonna
PDFs.
say something, Jason.
It was like I was listening to Mike talk about his players, and it's funny to me because we're kind of in that situation. We all have jobs, and but when I retired, I was living in Alaska, and everybody that I didn't have any friends in the military in my last unit. I was only there for a year, and I was leaving, so I kept everybody at a distance, and I went about my business. But everybody that I associated with, we were all senior NCOs. You make a pretty good living as a senior NCO in the military, especially once you've hit 20 plus years. You're doing pretty well. So I retired, left post, moved out to my cabin out in the woods, 20 miles out of town, and got a job at the local comic shop where I was paid $10 an hour. And that $10 an hour meant absolutely nothing to me because I had my pension. I was fine. But I started playing Dungeons and Dragons and other games with the other employees of the comic shop. And they're all early, mid-20s, making $10 an hour. And 6 of them lived in the same house. And 1 of them had a car. And like, so a new book would come out for, and we were all playing 5th edition at the time. So a new book for 5th edition will come out. And we're working in the store that sells these. So as soon as they hit the shelf, we're all, those of us that could, we're pulling a copy off and bringing it to the table. And, it's $40 for this book. And everybody's like, oh, can I see that? And I was like, just go get yourself a copy. And then, and they were all kind of looking at me like, and I didn't understand the look that I was seeing. Then after the game, one of them, like, the leader, he explained to me that they cannot afford the books. And I was like, what are you talking about? I was so detached from their reality that it did not ever occur to me that these half dozen 20-year-olds could not scrape together $40 for a new D&D book. And it was such an eye opener for me because I worked there for a year and I grew to love those guys. They were all very good people, very different from me, but great people nonetheless. And it really got to the point where, like, Morden Canaan's came out and I bought 3 copies and I gave 2 to the table. And it wasn't because I was trying to show my ass or anything. I want you guys to have these books. I want you to be able to feel like I'm playing. And so, like, with our group, if we switched over to Joe Block's AD&D, and I believe the core book for that is $80. If we wanted to play AD&D and Andrew was like, I'm kind of going to take $80 is a bit of a stretch, I would hand him a copy of the book, because I can. And just like you said earlier, I am by no means wealthy, but I make a good living doing what I do. And I've got my pension and I've got my disability. So, spending $80 on a book for a guy that I know for a fact is going to be at this table for 5 years, it's a worthwhile investment for me.
Yeah, I'm the same way because my guys know that, like, at the end of our CNC campaign, whenever that is, I'm more than likely going to switch to something else. And I've already had that thought. Like, some of the guys, like, if I switch to Hyperborea today, 3 out of my 5 players already have the player's handbook. Like, I bought one for my son when I was at ShireCon, and Rooster and Zephyr, who were usually in the comments, they bought them during the Christmas sale or whatever Jeff had. Yeah, the last sale he had, he was selling them for like nothing, so they bought copies. And I would buy table copies. Like, I'm like, and I don't play with anybody that doesn't have means to buy a book, but it's just like, if you really don't want to buy a new book, I'll buy a couple extra copies, have them at the table. Just, just use them. I don't
that was
care.
one thing about
And it takes that argument away, It's like,
CNC has a steep discount for veterans, and I think law enforcement as well. There's a huge swath of people that they discount for 50%. I mean, damn, dude, I'm buying 4 books for $50. Everybody take them,
I told Roger this story when we I met him out in Syracuse recently. We went out to dinner, and when I got into CNC, what? You didn't want him to know about our date?
What? Oh boy, here we go.
So,
We had a date.
yeah. Anyways,
Mike bought dinner.
Yeah, I bought
So
dinner.
would you do after dinner then, Roger?
Oh, now that I don't. We're not going to talk about.
You guys,
So listen. Anyways, we were talking about it, and when I got into CNC, my table at the time, it was a little different makeup than I have now. I had a retired correction officer that was with me, the sergeant there. I've got one guy that's still a commander in the Navy in the reserves. He's been in for 30 years. I had a guy that's that was in the Navy, did his 4 or 5 years or whatever, got out, and that he was a cop for 20 years. And the other guy at the end of the table was a brand new prison guard. So I sent a message to it's not Steve, the guy that handles it was I forgot who took care of it. They told me to message him. So I emailed him and I said, look, this is my group. I said, we are all either law enforcement or military, some current, some retired. And he was like, yeah, by all means, use this discount for everything you buy. So I bought for the whole group. That's why I was like, oh, $120 for 5 players handbooks, 50% off. It's $60 or $12 a piece. I'm like, to me, I'm like, $60 is nothing. I buy everybody at the table a book and be like, hey, let's play this. I didn't buy them all the extra books. I just bought them their players' handbooks. You know what I mean? And that was like, okay, let's go.
That was when I ordered the books. Sorry, Mike. Go ahead. Finish up.
Well, and one of the things is that's why I have I've got 8 players' handbooks there for CNC still, because a lot of guys gave them back to me when we stopped playing it. My daughter's friends, some of them just left their books here because I bought them for her group, and they left them here. I think I probably bought 20 of them. I've got 8 of them here. So, I bought them for lots of people, and it was just one of those things I can. So I did. But the same thing, if I got a player at my table that just really can't afford it, if I want you to play at my game, I'm going to buy you a book. That's all, so.
I like this idea, edgelord. Yeah, no, definitely. Definitely. I think, buying books for people at the table, like for some reason, even if people have the money, like it's a barrier to entry, right? Like they don't want to spend $60 on a book for some reason, I get it if they're not 100% into the hobby.
That's not a problem for you and I, apparently.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but
look at the pretty book.
Right.
I don't know what it is. It's sitting on my
These-
shelf.
I got a buddy that I've gamed with him forever, and he moves like every 5 or 6 years. Him and his wife moved to a new home, and like the first time he had to do that with his entire collection of stuff that he was like, oh, and then he actually thinned the herd. Like he's not. I mean, he's into role playing games. I mean, we've been playing together for 20 plus years, but he's not like we are, like shelves full of books and stuff like that. He doesn't do that. So he doesn't want to accumulate stuff because he has to move it. So that's like kind of his thing about like not buying books and stuff. And he doesn't like to learn he doesn't want to learn a new system, but I'm like, well, that's a you issue, not a me issue. But
yeah,
but I can take the excuse away by buying a table copy of the book and being like, well, there's an extra copy here.
That's what I probably start doing is just start buying table copies instead of buying everybody their own books. I'll just buy. I mean, I backed on this Kickstarter. I added the new the premium core rules book. I haven't decided yet whether I'm going to open it or just put it on the shelf still in shrink wrap and leave it there.
Yeah.
But I could just open it and use it, and then I've got 2 copies, which I know people have already given me crap because I'm using my signed copy as my table copy, but I don't know. I'm not.
I have the special edition one from the first Kickstarter that I had her sign, and so I have that at the table, and I use my normal copy of the book, but if like Andrew had it, like he was borrowing it, like then I'll open that, the special edition one, and I'll use it. Like I don't want to, but also it's a book,
right?
Right. I don't want it to just sit on if it sits on the shelf, it like, why do I even have it?
Right. I 100% agree with edgelord.
Yeah.
I buy my games to play them. I mean, sure, I had her sign it and all, and that's cool, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to play the book. It doesn't mean it's not going to fall apart and everything else. So
For me, it depends on the book and who. You know, I am really hoping, and I've met Kelsey several times. She's always been super cool. I'm going to have my book the next time I see her so I can have her sign it. I will still use that book as a table.
Yeah.
My first edition Monster Manual 2, signed by Jeff Easley, in which he drew a dragon on the inside, will never see a table again. I pick it up every now and then and I get a big smile and I put it back on the shelf where it's protected, and that's where it stays. So for me, it depends. You know, like modern stuff though, no matter how much regard I have for the creator and the signer, I'm still going to put it on the table. It's just not a big deal to me.
Yeah. So my second edition players handbooks, I have 4 of them, and I have 2 first printings of the second edition players handbook. So I brought one of them it was beautiful. I brought it with me to Page, and I had Zeb Cook sign it.
Cool.
That one is now bagged and boarded and sitting on the shelf. I have 3 other copies there.
Right.
I'm not going to pull it out for a table copy because I have 3 others, and every one of my players owns second edition. So it was just something that would sit there. But I never bought it with the intention of not using it, and it got used a lot. It just happened that I was going to Page, and Zeb Cook was going to be there, so I'm like, hey, I'm going to have him sign it. You know, so now it'll sit there. I understand that point, but for the most part, I mean, if I had some like first edition books signed by Gary or something, I'd probably be like, I'm not going to play them. You know?
Yeah, that's kind of sacred.
But generally, I don't go after that stuff. Like, yeah, that's pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. If I could get Easley
that's the
or
stuff.
Elmore to sign one of my books, and especially if they went and drew something in it, yeah, I probably wouldn't play it again. I would, you know, maybe buy another copy if I needed it and set it aside.
That's one of my favorite D&D stories, is getting that book signed. So yeah, that's like the Bible for me. Yeah.
But you know, they were joking around. Edgelord was joking around earlier about Roger being a snob. Yeah, he's a little bit of a snob. We've talked about. Oh, first edition, it's got to be this way, and you know, he gets the rules wrong, but we'll forgive that. But anyways, you get on like RPG auctions and RPG market, and I see these people now that are all slabbing books and slabbing adventures.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's not helping the hobby at all for an
No, it's
adventure
not.
that normally goes for $40 to all of a sudden go for
but I don't
$300
think-
because it's slabbed
I don't
and
think it's
graded.
Absolutely.
it's the collectors. It's the collectors. It's not the hobbyists.
I know, but the collectors ruin it for the hobby because
Yeah,
if you put
I know.
if you put a nice copy up that's like you manage to get yourself a copy that's, you know, in beautiful condition, those collectors snag that shit up and they will take it because, you know, where somebody might want it for a play. I don't know. I'm a little irritated with the whole slabbing portion of it now. You're turning it into just like trading cards where everything's gotten super expensive.
That's exactly what they're doing.
Roger and
It's
I
ridiculous.
went to Gary Con a few years ago together, and Errol Lotus was going to be there. And Roger loves Errol Lotus the way I love Jeff Easley. And we were waiting in line to see Errol Lotus, and Roger's got like 4 or 5 different things that he wanted Errol to sign. And there were 2 asshats in front of us that were professional memorabilia salesmen, and they had Contigo boxes filled that they wanted him to sign. And fortunately, there was a guy up in front, you know, a regular guy, and I went up and I was like, "Hey, man, we just want to get a couple things signed. Do you think we could skip these 2 guys and join with you?" And he turned up and goes, "Guys, where you been? We've been waiting for you." So he waved us up. So Roger and I get up to the front of the line. And I had my Palace of the Silver Princess, so I had him sign it. That was great, and that was it. And then I stepped to the side because Roger comes over, and the first thing he tells Errol is, "I've got 4 things, and I would really like you to sign me." He's like, "I promise, I'm not going to sell them. These are mine." And he was like, and Errol looks over and goes, "No problem at all." But the look on his face was like, "Fuck those guys." Oh, damn it. I try not to drop F-bombs on the show. And every now and then
you're good. You're good.
But the look on his face was, "Those guys suck. You're the guys that I'm here to sign for." And so, yeah, that was, and seeing Roger's interaction was like me when I met Jeff Easley. It was overwhelming. Yeah.
I talk to that guy maybe every couple months on Facebook, Dave.
The guy that
Dave
waved us up.
Williston. The guy that waved us up, and it's
he
like
would see
we're
us
always
later on the con and do the same thing. It was great, really good.
Yeah,
experience.
we whenever I message him or he messages me, it's always something like, "Hey, line buddy," something like
That's
that.
great.
It's fun, yeah.
Yeah, I really, I kind of, I don't know. Maybe this is just me, but I hate the fact that after a convention, like when Page is done, 2 weeks later, you see guys on there selling autographed stuff.
Yep.
Like it groups of it.
I
Not just
saw it.
one thing.
Yeah.
I saw it with what's his name? Oh my god.
True
Yeah,
story.
yeah, Matt. Sorry.
I like the exact measurement of 6 hectares.
Wandered 6X's off. Is
Well,
it
yeah.
6X's?
We
Yeah.
were randomly populating the map, and this is where we landed.
This
Do you
is
need
this is
the
where
que-
we landed.
The
Yeah.
topic is: do we need these books? No, we don't need these signed autographed books to have fun.
We
We're
don't
still on topic.
we don't need them. Frank Menser, we went to see him at Page One, and like there were people in front of us in line. I was like so pissed at because they pull out this box and it's got the large postal flat rate shipping boxes in it, and like each one has like 5 of the modules, right? Like different ones, and they like pull them out and they like open it up and like drop a pen and they just like point like to where they want them to sign it there, and then they flip the page to where Alina is. It's like up there, and then like they pull the next one there. Like they didn't even say hi, it's nice to meet you. Nothing. They just walk up and they're like, here, sign this, and it's ridiculous. That shit kills me. I mean, and that's the reason why, like, people get on like Mark Hamill or like William Shatner or whatever because they want like $800 for like an autograph.
Yeah.
Or whatever, and I know that's high, and I know a lot of people complain about that shit, but that cuts all that bullshit out.
Yep.
Unless somebody is actually gonna buy that shit. Adler calls them vultures. Yeah, I mean it prevents that shit.
Well, the one thing that I liked about Kelsey was, I didn't. The fact is, Kelsey personalizes it.
Yeah.
So if you're going to
absolutely.
sell it,
Yep.
if you're going to sell it, somebody's going to buy it with your name in it.
Yeah. Right.
And that's part of the way to do it, to keep away from that stuff, is just personalize it. What's your name? Oh, we'll write a little personalized message to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Some Mike could buy it and be like, oh yeah, I got this sign.
Oh, I got it. Hey. Yeah.
But
It's got my name in it.
But I don't get, I've only got 2 signatures in my whole collection, Kelsey's and Zeb Cook's. And I had Zeb Cook sign 3 things for me, which I was leery about even doing that. But I sat down and first he came to my booth and I talked to him before he even did his signing. And he bought some stuff from me. We got talking. And I told him, I go, listen, man, I know some of these people like geek on these old school guys. Everybody's like, oh, Gary was this and this. I said, for me, growing up with playing 2E pretty much my whole life, I go, you were my guy because you were the one that that wrote 2nd edition. You did the whole layout. That's your work. And for me, that was that's what I played. So I was like, I'm not one of these guys to gush over people. I'm not going to be like, oh, starstruck, I can't talk to you. But I said I got to thank you because I had 30 years of enjoyment from what you wrote.
Absolutely.
So when I went up there, I had him sign my 2nd edition player's handbook, but I had him sign my posters. The let's see if you can see.
Yeah.
The 2 posters that came from Dragon Magazine, the promotional posters for
Awesome.
the player's handbook and the DM's guide. I brought those with me and I had him sign those. And I was like, and there they are. They hang on my wall. They're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
If they ever get sold, it's because I died and my kids are like, getting rid of my shit. And I've already told my wife, if you're going to get rid of my shit, you need to find somebody that you trust that's in this hobby to help you, because don't just give it away.
Yeah.
When we went
yeah,
to
Death Angel.
PAX 24, right? 24. I know Johan Noor was going to be there. He's the artist for Morkborg and a few other RPGs.
Yeah,
and,
PAX Unplugged, yeah.
Yeah, I think he did some alien layout. I don't think he did any artwork, but maybe he did. I had my I got my book already. I'd already been playing Morkborg, but we went there and Johan was there, and then Pele was actually there, and I didn't know Pele was going to be there, so I just brought a little Johan Noor thing, and I went and actually bought my 10th printing of Morkborg book, looking like a total poser, like I hadn't even played Morkborg before, and had them both sign it. And when I went up to Pele, I was just gushing, like Roger was there. I was just gushing.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, everything this got me back into RPGs, blah, 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 like this and that. And he looked at me, and I'm gushing, right? Like for like 5 minutes or something. And he just looks at me and goes, I'm so sorry. Like he did me a disservice. And then so I got that signed by both of them, and then I went and bought Noor's art book because I wanted to buy it, but at the time I didn't have like a ton of cash for the Kickstarter for the Art by Noor book. But when we went, I got it, and he just was like, hey, can I sign this for you? And I was like, yeah. And I was like, and then he was like, can I do an illustration? I was like, duh. Like, who doesn't want that, right? So he did this little guy for me. In the little cover, and he apparently did that for everyone, which is great. And now, so this is Art by Noor, and then all the little doodles he did in the front of the Art by Noor. He now has another book coming out in next month called Doodles by Noor, and it's all those little doodles that are in the front of the book. But man, you guys have like years of history with your artists, and I guess Noor's like a little more recent for me, but that was my thing, man. And Roger was there, and I believe Jason came by too and saw me just like looking at him doing his little doodle, and like I'm just there like like Home Alone.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if it's 30 years or 30 minutes, man. That same love, that same emotion is there for you, like it was for Roger with Errol and me for Jeff, man. And that's you put in the private chat, you saw the look on my face when I opened up my book. I can't even talk about this book without tearing up.
Yeah.
I'm doing it now. It's that emotion and that attachment this is so important to me.
Yeah.
You talked about that Morkborg book is the reason that you got into RPGs. This Monster Manual 2 is why I got into Dungeons and Dragons. I've been playing since I was 11. I am 55 years old. This is a massive part of my life.
Yeah.
You can't ask for better than that.
Yeah, it's funny because like my first edition, so I started out with the BX, just the basic book, the Mold Day Basic, and it was a gift. My my stepmother was a nurse, and they had some Christmas party or something, and somebody bought her the box set, and she was into fantasy novels, so they thought she might be into that. Well, she wasn't. So she said I could have it. I don't know what happened to the box or Keep on the Borderlands, but I still have the basic book. And it's beat to hell because I read that and read it and read it. I never played it. I read it and read it and read it. And that stoked my imagination. Well, then I met a whole new group of friends, and they introduced me to first edition D&D, and then I shortly took over. Well, so this was my first ever player's handbook.
Wow.
Okay, yeah. It's not the 70s version with the original cover.
Sure.
Doesn't matter.
But you
that
know what?
Better.
You know what about this book? This
one I have.
Here's my book.
There you go.
Right? It is well loved and fallen apart, and
That's
I will
right.
never get rid of this book. And honestly, if you told me tomorrow, hey, we're playing a first edition game, I've got 2 other copies of this and the reprint, but I'm going to show up with this one right here.
Yeah, right.
And that's just going to sit at my table and play.
It's 40 years
one,
of love sitting there. Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, Death Angel said he wants my autograph. So it's funny. There's actually only, there's the Brahm book there. Yeah. There's I've only given one autograph to one thing that I print. And that was to Joe, I believe. So I think you're the only one that's got my my autograph on.
If this were a sitcom, there'd be an
Yeah.
Should I start autographing all my 3D prints?
Yes.
Yes.
Only if you don't mind me painting over them.
Oh, okay.
No, because that's like
No, it's
no
gotta be the
offense,
painted
Mike.
ones.
Well, the painted ones, yeah, would be cool. But like, if you're gonna
I'm
like, say if
joking. I'm
anybody's
not
gonna
gonna sign.
autograph a 3D print, it would be the guy, like it'd be the sculptor, right? Like
Yeah,
that'd be
I'm
the
not signing any of that stuff.
yeah, right. But yeah, no, that's cool. No, and you know, I feel the same way, right, about my like old books and all of that. Um, you know, like I had you know, when I brought to Earl Otis, like I had him sign my basic set, you know, the book, you know, the books that I had, you know, that I got, not the ones that are in better condition, you know, that I have, you know, but the ones that I grew up with, you know, and I told him, I was like, listen, these are going to the grave with me, you know, like nobody's gonna get this afterwards, you know, so it's just interesting. So
It's
yeah.
weird. It's weird the direction the hobby's taken now with the collectors. It's there's always been collectors, and I don't have a problem
Yeah.
with collectors.
Yeah.
Um,
No, but recently
and,
with like the slabbing and all of that, I mean, that's a whole thing now.
and like, I mean, he's been at Page the last couple of years, but I've never met him. But Alex Kammer from GameHoleCon, he's got an amazing collection.
Yeah.
But I got to tell you, there's sometimes when he shows off pictures of it, and I look at it and I go, "There's fucking 5 different copies of the Moldvay Basic set, all in shrink, sitting on your fucking shelf that somebody else could be enjoying." You know
Yep.
what's I don't know. There's a
Yeah.
point to me where there's like you're going overboard. I understand they're collectors; it's their money, and they could do what they
Grading.
want.
Grading Death Angel when you seal them and grade them like
Yeah,
you
like
do with
comic
comics or magic cards or collectible cards.
Yeah, they're doing it with D&D adventures now.
Sad.
And bad ones. I've seen like somebody had Forest Oracle slabbed, and they're like trying to
but
charge
it's
$300 for it. I'm like,
right,
come on.
but that's what it does. Like I see, you know, and I've seen that done in, you know, with magic cards and like comic books and stuff for years. There's stuff that's like cards that are worth like $10 that why would you pay the $50 or whatever, right, that it costs to get them to do the thing. But you do it, and now in the card's $100 card because it's a 9.8, you know,
right.
it's so you can make $50 on it. You bought it from somebody for $5 and you just, you know, you put it out there, and then somebody somewhere, right, is going to like the card because they collect the card or whatever. So they get like a 9.8 slabbed for $100 or whatever, that, you know, they're like, yeah, it's great. You know, it's ridiculous. So yeah, I don't like the collectors being in the hobby and stuff. I don't like it any more than you do.
So I see the comment about the Deadlands book. You got to open it. You got to open it. It's...
No, I ran Deadlands before with the cards.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, I ran it. Yeah.
I know. Like Jason's talked about it. Jason, I don't think would like Deadlands because it has too much Weird West in it. I like the actual Weird West in it because we were running Blood Drive, which is actually a very linear adventure. The characters actually go on a cattle drive.
Yeah.
But they run into things like they find some old house that's like there's burnt bodies behind it, and you know they find some clues about what caused that, and there's all kinds of weird shit in it. There's one part some cattle go missing, and they go to find them, and they get attacked by giant spiders, which is a huge like horror check for them because they've never seen giant spiders before. They've never seen anything weird like this, and all of a sudden, you know, they're being introduced to it. But later in the adventure, there's actually like at nighttime, they see like this stream of fire go across the sky and crash, and they go to investigate it. And there's a dead soldier there with a rocket pack on him. And while they're checking it out, the cavalry shows up and basically threatens them. They didn't see anything and they got to go. And it came from Area 51. And they started incorporating all that stuff into it. And it's kind of neat, you know? So you have it set in the late 1800s. It's an alternate Civil War that dragged on for longer. And basically, I think it was the Native Americans that basically did some ritual to their gods to try and stop the war. And the gods got loose on the land and created all kinds of weird shit. And now it's all chaotic.
Do you prefer the classic or the revised?
I've never played the
Reloaded? Is that what it
classic,
is?
so Reloaded was, Reloaded was prior to Savage Worlds. So
Oh, you're playing the Savage Worlds version.
yeah, so
Okay.
Savage Worlds was created from Deadlands. So he actually revised the rules and then created Savage Worlds out of it. And
Okay.
now I've just stuck with it. So it's Adventure Edition is the newest version. I mean, I've even got the last couple Kickstarters that are sitting here that I haven't even touched yet. I mean, they're still in shrink because we're not playing the game right now. But at some point, I'd like to really get. Yeah, that's the old stuff.
Yeah. You used a deck of cards instead of any dice. And you
Well,
do
so
like
so you use the cards. You use the cards for initiative and a couple other things. And Savage
character
Worlds.
generation. Yeah, and you do like a poker hand to do the combat.
yeah,
Yeah, it was. I mean, it's not exactly poker, but yeah.
so you
Yeah.
just deal out the cards for initiative, and you go in that order. And of course, aces get to go first, and they can reset
Right.
some stuff. But you
Yeah,
actually
but-
rolled Savage Worlds. You rolled dice for it. You have exploding dice for your attacks
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
I'm pretty sure there's no dice in the original Deadlands. It's just all cards and poker hands. But maybe there. I haven't played in years, so maybe there are dice somewhere.
I thought about getting into the DCC version of the Weird West one, but again, it's this giant ass tome of D20 rules, and I'm like, I don't know. The Savage World rules, I got into it, and they're different rules. They take a little bit of learning to understand how it works differently than
Weird
your
Frontiers
D20.
is a good time. Weird
Yes.
Frontiers. Is
Yeah, that's the DCC one.
yeah.
They make it in 2 books if you can find it.
I just
Yeah.
don't know if it's better than Deadlands. That's the thing. Is it worth buying a different system?
I don't know enough about Deadlands.
Well, I
Deadlands
backed
has been
on
around much
Kickstarter,
longer.
Yeah, sure.
and I backed it on Kickstarter, and we ran into the people who make it at Page Shadow West.
Yeah.
It's not out yet, but it's coming soon, I think, because they said it's they're just waiting on the proof from the printer, and
Yeah.
then they're gonna,
And
if
that
it's
was
good, they're gonna ship it out.
I'll be honest, part of what has attracted me to Free League and Savage Worlds was the fact that their systems can be applied to a wide genre of games. So
Mhm.
if I teach my players Mutant Year Zero rules, there's so many games
Yeah, it
that can
carries
apply
over.
to
Yeah.
it. So it's not like teaching them a new game every time. It's just like, oh, it's the same rules with just
But
a few
this is-
customizations
yeah.
for this setting. Savage Worlds is the same way. And now Shadow Dark, of course, if I can do Dark Sun with it, I could do Weird West with it, and I can do basic, regular fantasy, and I could do Dark Space with it. That's appealing to me, to take one
Yeah.
rule and be able to apply it different ways.
Sure. No, I love that. Edgelord, what are you talking about? RPG or I don't know how you take that question, Jason.
I
but,
think-
I
I
don't know
was
if he's
gonna ask
talking
about
about.
RPGs or movies.
No, I think he's saying that because I said I knew you didn't like Deadlands. I think he's asking what westerns you like.
I really like Tales of the Old West from Wrecked. That's the Free League guys that made their own thing. I found that this 3.5 Old West that is
Oh.
great.
Oh,
Favorite movie? Once Upon a Time in the West, absolutely, without question, is my favorite Western. Followed closely by the classics, Good, Bad, the Ugly, Shane, High Noon, High Plains Drifter. I love that movie because Clint Eastwood plays a revenant. That's badass. Pale Rider, phenomenal movie. Man, there's some great Westerns. But yeah, Once Upon a Time in the West, that's a masterpiece. Absolutely a masterpiece. Yeah.
So I told my players when we were getting ready to play Deadlands, I said, if you want an idea of what Weird West might be like, go watch Bone Tomahawk. Have you seen Bone Tomahawk?
Yeah.
Kurt Russell?
It's a little rough. Yeah.
It is. I like it. It's a great movie, but it's definitely not your typical Western.
I just watched Hostels with Christian Bale.
Okay.
Boy, that's a damn good movie. It's a Western.
Is it?
A cavalry officer is tasked with escorting a dying Indian chief to his native land so he can die on his own land. And boy, the movie never lets up. The cast is absolutely phenomenal. Man, it's great. I would strongly recommend it. Yeah,
Let's see.
Edgelord likes Great Silence.
great
I
silence,
don't know.
great movie. Yeah.
I see Amazon Prime. Is it free on Amazon Prime?
Mm-hmm. I have the Blu-ray, but yes, free on Amazon. Yeah.
No. Well, maybe.
No, it was maybe they lost it, and it was
I'm
free
not-
on Netflix.
I'm not logged in here, but it says watch with your stars trial or rent it.
Oh, that's
Oh.
okay. It's probably started. Yeah, it used to be free on Netflix, and I saw it. I saw it advertised on Netflix, and I kept telling my wife, "Okay, we have to watch this because it's leaving soon. We have to watch this." And then we
Yes.
never did see it. And I said, "Okay, for Father's Day, I want the Blu-ray." She got me the Blu-ray, so now I've seen it.
I'll have to
Excellent.
check
movie.
it out.
Yeah.
Nice.
If it's $3 to rent it on Prime or whatever, well worth $3. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
So we're just past the 3-hour mark, and like Matt said, we're 6 hexes off topic at this point. So what do we
Well,
got?
I
Any?
already spoke on the topic, so I'm right, obviously. So we don't need to discuss it anymore. So like,
Any last thoughts on do we need all these rule sets? Anybody got any last things on that?
Yeah, I'm not necessarily certain it's a need issue. It's a want.
Sure.
Do you want
I
these
agree.
rule sets to have variety of the games you play?
Yeah.
I don't need a whole bunch of more standard medieval fantasy style, high fantasy style games. I've got enough of them.
Yeah.
If something comes along that's absolutely phenomenal, you're going to have to convince me.
Yeah.
But I'm willing to try things.
Yeah, sure.
But
Well, I
as
think
for-
Shadow Dark is a great example of that.
Right, I do too. I do think that though all this other stuff, like I said, like Delta Green or Savage Worlds or different systems that fill different niches.
Yeah.
I think Free League is an awesome company. I think they have so much variety in the types of
Yes.
games,
That's it.
and I do like that they share a rule set. I wish we've never gotten one of them to the table yet.
Really?
I
Wow.
have a bunch
Yeah,
of them.
we played a few.
Wow.
Well-
Three?
So you love Dragonbane, and you
Yeah.
and I've talked about it. And you keep trying to like convince me, but
It's great.
I don't.
He's four.
I believe it's great, and the artwork looks phenomenal, and it just looks like a great game. But I keep reminding myself every time. I'm like, first of all, I have a problem going in too deep. I'm going to go and spend $400 and buy everything I can.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do I need it? Probably not. I've got enough systems going on.
Right.
I probably don't need it. So I'm holding off on it. Will I buy it later? Who knows? Maybe I'll get bored of some of these things and decide to try something different.
Well, I'll do a one shot at some point of it, and I'll if you want in, I'll invite you.
Yeah, I keep telling myself I should at least just try this. Play
Yeah.
this quick.
Yeah,
The
that.
free-
Listen, I'll tell you. If you play that one, like that adventure is different than any other adventure in Dragonbane. That one's meant for like kind of fooling around, having fun. It's completely different than the other adventures that are out there. You could do that whole thing without combat, unless
Yeah,
Joe
we
is
did.
involved. Unless Joe's playing, but
What?
but that's like really like it's a different kind of module. So don't play that and expect that that's how
Okay.
Dragonbane
It's
is.
not the typical
fun.
Dragonbane experience.
Well, I mean, listen, the Dragonbane core set is not that expensive. I could go buy the
No.
core set and get
Right.
started in the game if I wanted to.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just whether or not do I.
the box set,
Yeah.
yeah, that's
Yep.
like the whole.
That's all you
game.
need. Yeah.
Right.
We don't,
right.
we don't need to do that.
No,
Yeah,
it's
but-
good stuff.
You say that's all you need, but I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna buy all the stuff from this
All that
Kickstarter, all these series, and all the extra stuff they come out with. I'm gonna buy it.
Yeah. Right.
I can't.
No, I hear you. I'm the same way too. Once you get involved, yeah, I get it. 100%. It's great. I'm the same way. But no, I think it's good stuff. And like I said, I'm gonna run a one shot of that at some point. I'm looking at running Alien. I want to run like a small campaign of that, like 3-4 session campaign of that. So I mean, if you want in on that, let me know. I don't know if
I don't
Alien's your
know,
jam.
man. Alien is one of those games that like I've watched the Alien movies a million times. I like the Alien movies.
Yeah,
I can't ever say I love them. I like them. They're
sure, okay.
entertaining movies.
No, I
I've
get it.
watched them every time they're on. I watch them. It's whatever.
Yeah,
But I'm like, I looked at the system and I'm like, I don't know if I want to play Alien. I don't know.
sure,
Yeah.
sure. No, I
It was
get it.
fun. I played.
I get
one-
it.
I'm sure it's fun. It's just
Um,
it's just like he just said, if it's your jam, and I don't know if it really is my jam. You know,
What was really cool about playing Alien was it was super easy to get immersed in it when you were playing it because you have seen the
Yeah.
movies. So
Yeah.
like when the game master's like, "Oh, the xenomorphs comes, charging down the hall at you," I knew exactly what it looked like
yeah,
oh yeah,
and could picture that whole thing. And then I had the surprise because I forgot the whole blood for acid thing, and I hit it with a fucking axe
yep.
and murked one of the guys that was traveling along with me because he took
Yeah.
most of the spray. But it was great. Like I had a blast. It was a lot of fun.
yeah.
It's a
And
great
I could,
RPG as long as you're not playing it with me at a convention.
No, that was a one shot. That was a one shot, and that was like, that was
Roger's
extreme
like,
circumstances.
let me see your secret role, or I'm gonna end your life, is what he said. I think something like that.
Oh boy.
I can't confirm or deny that, but that was a game
And-
that Alex Kammer was running, and
Yeah.
Joe had the secret mission that he was a crazy Russian that wouldn't stop smoking, and he was doing crazy things in the game. And I told him like 3 times during the game, I said, Joe, if you're playing this character like that, just to be a goofball, and it doesn't say to act like that on that slip of paper of yours, I am going to throttle you when this is over.
And Ken is
Does
still
Joe
mad at me.
has done such
Ken's
a
like,
thing.
I will never play Alien with you again in my life.
so, and what did Alex have to say about it?
No, Alex,
He wasn't
it
happy
was
either. I think I ruined it for everyone.
no, I think it was fine. The module that he ran was basically for 5 players, and only 2 of them could possibly survive. So everybody kind of had a secret thing that says, you really care about this other person, you need to like get them out. So I had like a patient that I had to get out. I was a doctor, a patient that I had to get out. I was Joe's person that had to get out. And
I was in
Like,
love
so
with
every-
Roger.
everybody had this whole like thing going on. And so it was going to end horribly no matter what happened. Well, and
Yeah.
while we were all arguing with each other, the one guy that wasn't arguing just self-destructed the station basically. So, I mean, that's how that ended. it was fine. It was fine. It was just a little like just craziness going on. So I'm not a big fan of that, the player versus player kind of aspect of but in a one shot, it's like, okay, whatever. It's fine. I don't want to do that all the time, but it was okay. So, but yeah, the longer campaigns and the bigger adventures and stuff aren't so much like that. The secret missions and stuff that you get aren't like, to kill everybody else or, type of thing. But so
Have any of you guys played Delta Green?
Yep.
I have not
No.
yet.
I really want to either run this game or play this game.
It was fun. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I kind of
But
wanted to, but then I played Blacklight, and I don't think I need Delta Green. Trying to keep it on topic here, but I don't need it.
They sound very different from. I mean, watching your stream on Blacklight, they sound
Yeah.
like very different
Yeah.
games.
Yeah. No. They are. But a Blacklight, I think, fills that hole of like what I want to do. But I am interested in the Delta Green Vietnam. That does interest me. I wrote that down.
I just saw today,
Earlier.
in the vein of Delta Green, that Call of Cthulhu, which is another game I really like, in April they're releasing a book, but on the cover of the book is a Cub Scout group sitting around a campfire, and I guess you play as one of the
Oh,
scouts.
so it's Stranger Things.
Yeah, so you get like that, driven to madness at a very early age.
I've never
Wow,
played
that
Call
looks
of
pretty
Cthulhu.
cool.
I've never played Call of Cthulhu, which is what Delta Green was based on.
I've played a lot of it.
It sounds very fun, but I think you need to have a group. Like my current
You have to have the right people.
right.
You have to absolutely have the right people.
My group of players have never really known anything other than D&D or D&D styled games. So
They would have a very hard time with Call of Cthulhu.
right when we
Probably.
played Deadlands, they
Probably.
tried to play it like D&D, and
Yeah.
it just doesn't work that way. I mean,
I came from that background. I'd always wanted, because I like horror movies and stuff, and I always was interested in Call of Cthulhu, but there was nothing anybody I played with was interested in. I lucked out during COVID and got into some Call of Cthulhu, and I didn't know anything because we played a couple one shots, and I was like, and Rooster was one of the guys I played with, and I was like, well, how does this work for like a long-term campaign? And so we had a great keeper. He was awesome. I still play games with him. He the way he explained it was in D&D you start off as like a scrub and you only get
Oh
better.
yeah.
And in Call of Cthulhu
Yeah.
you start off the best you're ever going to be and you only get worse.
Yeah.
Like you just
and that's how they describe.
Yeah.
That's describe how they describe Delta Green.
Same thing. It's just slightly different mechanically. And your purpose in Delta Green is different than your purpose in Call of Cthulhu generally.
Right.
They're both
The thing I like
both
about
fun.
it is people try and equate it to X-Files, and it's kind of like X-Files, but X-Files, they were all about discovering the truth, and Delta Green is all about basically
Covering it up,
and
yeah.
hiding the truth.
Yeah,
hiding
which
it.
is cool.
Yeah.
So, all right. So, let's close this thing up and then get out of here. We can do this in the back room, but
It's been a
yeah,
great podcast.
CNY. Death Angel says he's coming, and Edgelord, yeah, you're going to be there. Joe's going to be helping out with stuff. So, and if you guys want to come,
I'm still working on my group. Trying
to get the group to come.
I'm trying to get my gamers on.
Yeah, we'd love to have them. If you guys,
they're not convention people, but maybe I can get them.
I get it. I get it. You know, it's not for everybody. If you guys want to show up like a day or two early, like we may have time for some gaming and stuff then. I know we're going to try and do some board games and stuff. Obviously there's setup and stuff to be done. So if you show up early, then expect to help.
I'll probably come early.
But we
he's bringing the Blantons. I'll be
can
there.
hang out. Yeah, there you go. There you go. So, all right, but yeah.
Fucking man after my heart, right?
So I think that's about that. As far as with do we need this stuff? So
We need it.
will.
I don't think we
talk to
resolved
you
the
guys.
issue, but
We
it was
need
a
it.
Yeah.
good discussion.
That's about on par.
It certainly is.
And yes, I will put you to work after a 14-hour drive. You got to get those muscles and those legs and arms moving after sitting for so long. So moving tables is a perfect thing. So we will see you guys next week. We'll see you guys on the other side. Everybody have a great evening, and we'll see you next week. Take care.
Thanks,
everybody.
everybody.
You know.
Bye, guys.